Welcome back. So what we have so far is, we have this guy, and we have four different AI enemies, and we have this ammo cone right in the middle of the map. So if I play the game, I stand right here. No one is going to come running to me. Okay. In fact, you know what? Let me do this. Let me delete off the other guys, or I'll select some of them. I'll delete this guy. I'll just keep one, and I'll keep two. I'll have the enemy one dumb three and the enemy one dumb four. So let's say I've got this guy out here, okay, and he's out here, and I will I'll delete this instead. I'll make a copy of this AI and I'll place him right next to him out here, right? So when I spawn, okay, when I spawn, they're not gonna look at me. They're just looking in that direction. And if I start shooting, he's not doing anything. This guy, this one, the one that I just shot dead, he, he could be his ally, but I shot him dead right in front of him or right next to him, but he did not do anything. So if I'm shooting at him, from the back, he's pretty much he's doing nothing to me. Okay, so we got to change that because the moment he hears something or when I'm shooting at him from behind, he needs to understand that someone is shooting at him from behind, and he needs to turn around and needs to do something. For our intents and purposes, for this simple tutorial, we can simply make him just chase us. Okay, but maybe you have other plans. Maybe your AI is armed, so you're shooting at him from the back, and you missed a few shots, and he's not really hurt or anything. I mean, he's probably just hurt, but he's not dead. So he turns around, and whatever life he has left, he's gonna try and shoot you back. Okay. Or it could be a zombie. Maybe he hears you, he turns around and he comes running at you, and bunch of different things that he can do with it. But for our purpose, for the purpose of our tutorial of this particular course, all we're gonna do is make him turn around and chase you. Okay, so it's not as dumb as he is right now. So unless you go in front of any of these guys, they won't chase you. Okay, so now this guy is chasing me, and now both of them are chasing me. Okay, and now they both gonna chase me. No, they won't, but they just stopped there because they lost sight of me. So when I shoot any of these guys, all I need to do is get to the back and shoot them, and I can take my own sweet time to shoot them because they're not going to retaliate. So we're going to stop that from happening. We're going to make these AI retaliate, turn around, do something at all, right? And also we're going to take care of one more task, but I think that'll be after that. So for now, let's get started with this little AI thing, and then get on to the other one. So for that, let's open up our blueprints, not the blueprints, assets, and blueprints inside here, AI and enemy one. Okay, so whatever we have going for the AI happens here. If he wants to chase us, he's gonna chase us here, and all of that. Okay, so what we have right now is we have this actor begin overlap. So when we are checking whether the projectile is hitting this player or the AI, okay, and if it is, then we are first printing the string. We are printing a string hit. We are printing hit to the screen, which is just for debug purposes, and then we're taking away some health from the AI, and that's all the simple calculation that's happening. And if it is less than 0, then we are trying to destroy it. So we have to also make use of the false condition here, because what if it's not less than 0, which means that he's getting hit from somewhere. And so what we have to do is first, let's also create an impact point. Okay, so wherever you are hitting him, there has to be an emitter that is spawned. There has to be some particle system that is coming out. For instance, if this is this is more like a humanoid character, which does not is not made of flesh and bones. Instead, he's made of, I don't know, he's made of steel and circuits inside and everything. So when you hit at him, when you take hits at him, then probably there are sparks coming out. Okay, so maybe if it's a real human, you hit at someone, you shoot at someone, then obviously that bullets will make holes in his body, and there'll be blood oozing out. So that's not the effect that we're looking for, because we don't have another human there. So what we have is that mannequin, and he's not made of flesh and bones. So we look for a particular effect in the so we already have our assets, Infinity Blade assets that we already are using the particle effects from. So we're going to search for something in here, and we're going to use that on for the impact on the enemy. So first is we have to spawn the emitter at location. Okay, right. And then after this, no, actually, let's go back here and let's look for that effects that I was talking about. So inside the Infinity Blade effects, you already might be having this folder, and that's how we could access the different particle effects that we've been using in the course so far. So inside the effects folder and inside the FX, you'll have all of these, or just go back here inside the effects folder. Let me search for impact, and all of these are going to come out. Now once these load up, just scroll down and look for something called, if I can find it, it's there's p impact underscore shield, and there's p impact underscore shield underscore fire. So let me try and look at this. Maybe this is it. So this looks pretty good. He's taking a hit of a bullet hitting his body, and since he's made of steel and everything, so there's going to be sparks coming out of the body. So I think this is what we will go with. So we'll be using p underscore impact underscore shield underscore fire. Now there are other impact shield particles, but this is the closest that we can get to, because there's going to be sparks coming out. Other is when ice, a block of ice is taking an impact and all of that. So I think this is the closest that we can use for it. Okay, so with this selected, we have the impact shield fire selected. We'll go back to the enemy and we'll click on this little arrow here so that it selects that asset, right? And now for the location, I will be using the location of the projectile itself, wherever it's hitting it, or wherever the location of this projectile which is hitting the player is. That will be the location for me to spawn this emitter in. Okay, so from here I'll just look for get location or something, get actor location. Let's see. I think that should work. Okay, so let me clean this up a little bit, and I'll just line them up like this. And this will go with the location, and that's the location of the projectile. Let me just clean this up a little bit so that it makes it readable. I think that's good enough. Okay, so this is all we need to have some sparks coming out of the body of the AI at the exact location where he's being hit. So let's try this out. So I'm gonna hit play, and let me shoot at this guy, and you can see the sparks are coming out now. So okay, he's getting hit, and you can see the sparks coming out. Okay, and of course, there you go. So I'm shooting him, hit. I think one more, and he'll be gone. There you go, and that was the back of a headshot. But you can see the sparks coming out. Oh, okay, I need to reload. Okay, and I'll just shoot again. There you go. All right, it worked. Okay, and so you could see that the sparks are coming out. Now, of course, like I said, these are mannequins and not human beings. So there won't be blood coming out when you are hitting them or even piercing them with anything. So the sparks look fine for the mannequin. Of course, if you have something else, if you have maybe if you have a human being, then obviously you just have to use an effect where you could show that the blood is oozing out, right? So I'll just close this, and I'll also clear the filters so that. And so the next thing we have to do is, now that we are having this where we can shoot at him from the back, and we're also getting the impact point. Okay, uh, now we'll be actually getting into the task of making this guy turn around and figuring out where the bullet is hitting him or where it might be coming from. So he will do that calculation himself, and he'll turn around, and then when he sees you and when you are in that line of sight at that point, then he'll start chasing you. Okay, so that's our next big task, and let's get on to it. All right, so let's go back to our blueprint AI, the enemy one blueprint, and out here, so you have these guys, and after this, now what I want to do is I want to use the same kind of function. So once I'm done spawning the emitter at that location, now I want this guy to seek the player. Okay, so I'm just gonna say AI move to. Okay, so this handy function, and the pawn is gonna be ourselves. I want to move myself, so I'll get a reference to self first. Okay, and then for the destination or for the target actor, either ways, the destination, we're gonna get the target actor, we're gonna get the player, we're gonna get the character. We just have one player, one character, so we're gonna get the player, and then we can either get its world location and pass it to the destination input, or we can pass in the whole actor, or the character itself, to the target actor field. So we'll go this way, we'll do it this way, we'll do it the second way, where we'll pass in the entire character to the AI move to function, and as a target actor, to the target actor parameter, and everything else will be taken care of by this function itself. So before we actually do that, I'm going to move this to the right a bit so that I can make some room. I want to insert another node here. So I'll be casting to player. Okay, so I'll first be casting this to player, and then object would be, I'll be getting the reference to the player character, because we are a character, and that's our player, so we're getting the player character. Okay, and now we can simply hook this up to the target actor. All right, so we have all of this, and acceptance radius is all good. I'll just hit compile. I'm not going to change any of those values there, and let me try and play now. Okay, so now I'm at the back. Let me try and shoot this guy. Okay, I'll just 2 shots to the back, and there you go, and now he's chasing me. Okay, and now he's gonna chase me until he loses sight of me. Okay, and again I took him down, and let's try the same thing. I will go a little far off, maybe out here, let's say. Let me try and shoot him from here, just 2 shots. There you go, and he knows where I'm. That's a little hacky, I know that, but it's at least a level better than what he was earlier. So he's gonna chase me until he loses sight of me, and I can still shoot him, but I'm reloading, so he's gonna eat my brains up. And now again, I try and shoot him again, and now he's gonna chase me. Now it's little better than before, where he at least knows that he has to chase you, and he just does not get hit when when the player is not inside. So of course, we are covering one step over another. I mean, we're slowly making the AI smarter and smarter. The first step was to just put an AI there. Next step was to chase you when you are in sight of the AI. And now in this video, we give them a little bit of intelligence, just a little bit, just a tad bit of intelligence, to figure out where you are and where you're shooting from, and chase you there. And if you are and chase you until you get out of his sight, or he lands up dead. Okay, so of course there are a lot of things that needs to be done. Right now they're just standing there and doing nothing, and either waiting to get shot by you, or waiting to see you. Those are the only two conditions when the AI is going to react to anything at all. Okay, and that's a very limited behavior. And next is, we actually gonna make the AI patrol, looking for threats like the player, or you are a threat to the AI, so he's gonna patrol the area looking for threats. And then we also gonna maybe later on, we're gonna give him a gun, so that he also has the ability to shoot, because right now it's kind of unfair. You got the gun, but these two guys, they don't. They're just running, chasing you, and they're still not doing anything to you. So we are gonna give the ability to the AI to kick back, to shoot back, and retaliate in some way, where he can take your health down as well. So right now it's kind of unfair. So we're gonna balance it out later on, but one step at a time. So we just made our AI a tad bit smarter, and let's move on from here. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Welcome back. So we have added some sort of intelligence to the AI, but we're gonna do a little more. As I said in the previous video, we're gonna give the ability to the AI to roam around and seek the player, or seek you as the player, when when AI cannot spot you, or you're not shooting at him. Because right now the only two conditions to get the attention of the AI is to either come in front of him within his cone of sight, or you shoot at him. So the moment he gets shot, and he miraculously he'll know where you are shooting from, and he'll just come to your spot. Okay, so yes, of course, it's a little unrealistic, but at that point we just wanted to give it some sort of reactionary measure or some sort of reactionary behavior to you shooting at the AI from behind. Okay, of course we will change that much further to make it look a little more natural, that he doesn't know exactly where you're shooting from, and he'll look around and then he'll spot you. And or what if you're a sniper and if you're shooting from some bush, and which means that he shouldn't know where you are coming from, where you're shooting at him from. He should just react to that shot, even if you miss his shot, or if you probably are not hitting, if you aim for his head but you couldn't get the shot right, and it probably hit something by his side, and he heard that shot, he looks around and he gets in an alert position, he starts aiming frantically, and may or may not take that another shot, but still doesn't know where you are because you're a sniper and you're shooting at him from a far off distance. So in our case right now, even if you're shooting at him from 100 kilometers apart, and he's still going to know where you are and he's going to come chasing you. Okay, so that's not the way we're not supposed to do. Of course we're going to change that later, but for now that's good as a first reactionary behavior for the AI when he gets shot, other than simply spotting you and running chasing you. So now what we're going to do is every 4 or 5 seconds we're going to put a condition there for the AI to check whether he can see you or not. And if he's not able to see you, then we want to make him move to some random point in the map, in the navigable map. And when he moves there, and if he still can't see you, then again he's gonna wait for 4 or 5 seconds. He's look around, all disappointed. He's gonna move to some other random point, and that way, when he moves, uh, you know, he might spot you. That's the whole plan. When he's moving around randomly and he's just patrolling the area, that's how the patrols work, right? I mean, they just move from one point to another. But in our case, we're not gonna make him move from two, two fixed points, but rather we're gonna make the blueprint, make his AI class pick some random point from the level and make him walk there or run there, whatever we want to do, whatever we want him to do. Possibly walk because he hasn't spotted anything, so there's no sense of urgency there. He's just patrolling, so he's just doing his normal walk. If he spots you, of course, he's going to chase you and he's going to run and chase you. Right, so let's get started there. So the first thing is, again, we have to go back to our enemy blueprint, and there are a lot of blueprints that I have open, so I'm going to close some of them. I don't need the HUD for the dynamic crosshair. I don't need this either. And player I can keep. And projectile base, I think I can close that. Weapon base also, I think I can close that. So let's just keep it clean with just the enemy open and maybe the player that we might need it, because we are working with both of them. Mostly AI, but I'll just keep the player open just in case. Okay. So let's go back to our enemy blueprint and let's look at some of the functions that we have. So on CPON, pawn sensing, so we'll have to make some changes here possibly, and give it some timer for 4 or 5 seconds, and then make him walk to some random point in the map, as I said. All right, so the first thing we're going to do here is we first going to need a variable, and we call this variable can see player, right? And by default, when I compile this, it's going to be false, right? So what we're going to do first is, after this has been cast to the player, and we know that it is the player that the pawn can see, so we're going to set this to true, because the player can see, the player can be seen now. I'm going to connect this, and I'm going to say connect this to true, and move them in the center. And then at the end of this, after the AI move to, whether he succeeded on moving there or whether he's failed on moving there, we're still going to be setting it back to false. Okay, so both of these are going to point at the same thing. All right, and we're going to set this to false. Now, just to test that it works, I'm first going to move all of these nodes down so that it doesn't interfere with the bunch of code above. I'm going to set up a few print strings, which I'll get rid of. I just want to test whether this works. So again, even though we are testing it, let's still keep it clean. And out here, I'm going to say print string, and I'll say can see player, can see player, can see player, and exclamation mark. And out here, it would be cannot see player. So print string again, and the string would be cannot see player, and player can be like this. Great. Now let's just see what happens. Okay, all we're gonna test it is with a boolean variable, so I just want to see what happens. So right now it obviously has nothing there because it's not even sensing, so it cannot see us anyways. So if I move, let's say, closer to him, and he cannot see me, he can see me now, and let's say can see me now, and he's chasing me, he can see me, can see me. Now let's see, I'm gonna make a little change. Let's see if I can do that, and I can say, let's say, format string or append. Okay, and append would be can see. Let's get the name of this guy. Let's say enemy get self, get a reference to self, and let's call this, let's see, okay, let me go back here and let me give this guy something. Okay, I'm gonna give this, let's say, if I can look for it, I don't know if I can get the different tags in here. Let's say out here it's the mesh component tag and the character tag, so the character movement. So let's see if I can get it for the mesh. So I would say enemy 1. Okay, and for the second one I'll say enemy 2, right, and save that. Now in here I'll come back here and I'll say, instead of self, I'll say mesh, and I'll say get the tag, get owned gameplay tags. Okay, or get, let's say, let me just check this, and I don't think I will find anything here. And these are component tags, so not component tags. So I'll just say get tags, get owned gameplay tags, I guess that is it. And I can't make this a pure cast, so let's see. And if I just split the struct bin, and all right, so I think we have to do it in another way. So let's see, get actor name, get actor, let's say, let me get self first, self. Okay, and from self, let's see if I can get something. Name, get object, get display name, I guess, and get display name, and this will get connected to this, and add pin has seen space has seen player. Okay, has seen player. Okay, and I think I'll just delete this. I'll say remove pin. So this has seen player. Let's see, and compile that, and let's see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm willing to test it. So now let me go in front of this guy and let's see if I'm getting anything. So enemy 1 dump 4 has seen the player, right? So let's see which one is dump 4. Is this guy dump 4? Okay, that's dump 4. And okay, let me in fact rename these guys to something better. So I'm just gonna call this enemy 1, and this one is or I'll just call this enemy to the right. No, enemy 1 is fine, and this one would be enemy 2. Okay, and now if I go hit play, let me go in front of enemy 1, and enemy 2 has seen the player, so he's chasing me. Okay, and now enemy 1 has also seen the player, and both of them are chasing me. All right, okay, so we at least have that. Now let's go back here and let's do the same thing for this as well. And yes, get the self, can get reference to the self, and get display name, and let's see, I'll append this again. I'll say append, I'll call an append function. Let's say append, and this will be connected to this naturally, and in B it will be cannot see the player. Okay, and has seen the player, or can see the player, I guess. Can see the player. Okay, can see player. Compile that, play, and let's again go to the front of these guys, and enemy 2 can see the player, enemy 1 cannot, and now both of them can, and they're chasing me at the same time. Enemy 1, this is enemy 1, and he's still chasing me. No, he can see me at the same time, he cannot see me. That's not very satisfying, but it works. Okay, at least something we are getting printing on, we're getting something printed on the screen, and we can see that some guy is being able to see us and some guy is not being able to see us. Anyways, I'm just going to be placing it here and moving this guy to the right so that it not very confusing. Okay, so that works. So let me keep that, and we'll have to make some more changes. First thing is I'm going to get rid of the tags that I created, so I'll just delete them, and I'll do the same thing for enemy 2. So save all, yeah, save the blueprint as well, and go back to enemy. Now it's time for us to add the function that we are trying to add. That is, after a delay of a few seconds, make him move to a certain point in the map. So for that, we're going to need the event tick function, okay, the built-in event tick. And inside event tick, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a delay. And we can choose the delay. You can either be a variable or you can directly hard code it in here. Now, for now, I'll just hard code it, and then later on we can make it a variable so that it's more streamlined that way. And then it's 3 seconds. So every 3 seconds, we're gonna order the AI to move to some place. AI move to. So the same old function, same old trusty function. Now, this is gonna be the pawn. So I'll say self. Okay, I'll get a reference to self. I want him to move. Where do I want him to move? So if I pull out a Y from here and I say, let's say, move to, no, let's say radius, and this is get random. Okay, I actually wanted to type random, but instead I typed radius, but it still got me the same result. So in an ideal world, you would be wanting to get random points. So you type random and these two functions would come up. So now you have two functions. So you have get random point in navigable radius, and as the tooltip says, it gets a random location in navigable space within given radius of origin. And this one, it generates a random location that is reachable from the given origin location. Okay, so I think we'll go with the second one because we don't want the point to end up somewhere inside a block or somewhere. So let's go with this, and maybe we can later on check the other function, which is also very similar, but it works with the nav mesh, while this works with a reachable point still in the nav mesh, but it works with the origin and the radius around it and the nav data and all of that. So let's look at this function. Let's implement this, and maybe later on we'll also work with the get random navigable point and radius. Okay, so for the origin, we have to figure out the vector, and the radius we have to figure out, and the nav data, I don't guess we need that. And we can actually use any of these nav data, but let's see. First, let's figure out the origin, and then let's go on for the other input pins. Okay, so there are multiple ways of doing it, but for now, just to keep it quite simple, what I'll do is I'll just get the actor's location. Actor is this AI itself, because we are in the AI class or the enemy class. So I'm just going to pass that as the origin for now, and maybe later on we can worry about more complicated AI. But for now, I just want them to see moving, right? And for the radius, I will say, let's say, well, we're not really sure about the radius of the map or any of that. So this is more in an experimental fashion. You have to do it more in an experimental fashion. So let's start with something small. Let's say 10 units. Okay, so they'll pick up a point somewhere within the radius of 10 units after 3 seconds, and they have to move there because of this AI move to function. Okay, and let's see. So I'm gonna hit play, and I'm gonna move up right away. I'm gonna take the vantage point here, and I'm gonna watch these guys doing something. Okay, and after that, so 10 seconds, I think 3 seconds are done. They're not moving yet. Maybe Maybe the radius is too small, I guess. So let's say, I don't know, 100. Let's see, 100. And I'll do that again. I'll move up. I'll move in here. And after 3 seconds, okay, they just moved. So 100 units is still not a far off place. Okay, they're hardly moving, and they're just like moving one step and stopping there. So I think the radius has to be even bigger. So let me let me make it 3 times it. So I'll make it 300 and play that, because when I play that, it also compiles it right away. I'll just jump. I'll take my vantage point here. He moved. One guy moved for 300, and then this guy is moving. And let's just watch for a few more seconds, and let's watch their behavior closely, and then we can shoot one of them down. Okay, and they anyways. Okay, I got him. No, I didn't. Is he dead? No. Okay, and okay, fine. But I shot him, but he's still engaged. He's still engrossed in moving around in that. Let's see. So again, 300 is not a it's not a big number, so we have to increase that further by 1,000. So 1,000 should work, I guess, so that they take long strides of patrolling walk, and that's good enough. So, and they go, and it's still within the navigable radius. All right. Okay. Anyways. Okay, and if you notice one problem, I'll show it to you again. So now I'm here. Okay, I take a vantage point. Let me take a vantage point here. He can't see me. None of these guys can see me. Now he actually can see me, but he cannot really. Let me see. Let me go in front of him. Let me go in front of one of these guys. Okay, and now he can see me, but he stops halfway because that 3 second mark is over. So he does not care. He's patrolling. His main objective is to patrol. So we're going to get rid of that. His main objective is not to patrol, but his main objective is to find the enemy and destroy him. His enemy, I'm his enemy. So once he finds me, he should stop patrolling, because that's not priority anymore. So for that, we have to again add a check, and we'll add a branch node here. Branch. Okay, and maybe I'll just move it here, because I need to move this to false. I need to move this to false. Okay, first let me add the condition. I want to see whether the player can see me or not. If I can see the player, if he can see me, then I do not want him to override, chasing me and keep patrolling instead. So that is a very bad behavior by the AI, and very sloppy behavior rather. So I want it to be happening on false only. It's only when he can't see me that he is going to be looking for me. Okay, so let me move him here, and let me move this guy here, so that it's all in one line. Now it's actually looking decent. Okay, now when I compile this, and let me make the radius even bigger. Let me make the radius somewhere like 2,000, 5,000. Okay, 5,000 is not bad. Compile that, play, and now let's see. So they're gonna move. Now they are on the other side of the map. They still can't see me. So if I move closer to one of these guys, and now he can see me. Okay, and he can see me, and now he's chasing me. And once he sees me, he's not gonna. Okay, here you go. And once he can't see me, once he stops seeing me, okay, he's gonna carry on with his patrolling. Now it's still looking odd, because he can see me anyways, but there are times when he can't, because I probably move away from that cone, and at that little point you know he cannot chase me, because at that point this thing comes in the tick, and then it goes and falls. And if he can see me, then again, maybe he should get a delay. Let's see. If he can't see me, then he starts moving to that particular place. Maybe I should add that delay. Let me see. Let me see if I can add a little delay more. And move that here. Move to the right. Okay. and let's add a delay, and let's add a delay of 1.5 seconds. So even if he can't see me, he is still stop for 1.5 seconds, and then he's going to go on. So that should stop that. I mean, now let me come in front of him. Okay, why are they avoiding me? Okay, now he can see me, and so he doesn't have a lot of time to process that, no? So okay, I think I should get rid of that because we will work it in a different way, but that's one way to do it. Not precise, not the best AI, but at least it's better than what it was, and we are inching one step closer to not so dumb AI. Okay, right now at least it knows its priorities. It has its priorities. He has his priorities. So let's see. This is scan C player and everything is fine. All right, great. So that was about the simple fix that we had. I mean, uh, make patrolling AI. The biggest task here is the biggest takeaway is the AI can now patrol. Both of these guys can now patrol after a given number of seconds. And second, he cannot override his chasing task or with patrolling. Okay, so if he's patrolling and if he sees me, then he's gonna drop his patrolling and he's gonna chase me instead because that's now his first priority. So we also made that change. Not perfect, but we are getting there. Okay, so that's about it. And let's see. I don't think we have anything else to be added here. All I need to do is I just need to bring these guys a little closer so that it looks a little cleaner, like that. Great. Okay, so that's about it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Welcome back. So in the last video, we took a look at simple AI. We took a look at how to create a very simple, implement a very simple chasing AI and a patrolling AI, which remains to be tweaked a lot in the future, of course. But for now, we'll continue making those little fixes and keep on polishing our mechanics. So when I hit play, when I move around, when I move left or right, this guy, okay, he is still not. Oh yeah, he saw me. All right, I think let me just look at it, and if after completion, if he cannot see me and can see player is out here on success and on fail, I think after that's done, AI move to. Okay, I think we'll take a look at that later. But what we're gonna do in this video is if I'm moving around left and right, you can see that the hands are also jumping a lot. Okay, and which is not something that I want. So what I want to do now is I actually want to stop this from happening. I don't want the hands to be so jerky so that the enemy, so that the weapon cannot move around, so the weapon cannot jump around so much. And we're gonna do that using layered animations. And so if I open up my character, go to my assets, and I go to my, let's say, skeletal meshes character, and if I open up the soldier, okay, and there you can see him, you know he's standing in a T-pose right now. But what's exactly happening is, for while he's idling away, the whole body is idling. While he's running or walking or any of those movement animations, again his whole body is moving. So we want to separate the animations into two different halves. So we want to say that, let's say, play the idle animation only in the top half, and the legs need not move, so because we can't really see the legs anyways properly. And while he is running or walking, strafing, or whatever he's doing, which involves movement, then let's not move the upper half of the body. Okay, so we're going to layer this animations into different categories. And so when he is walking around, the gun does not, or the weapon does not jump around. It's kind of annoying because when you're running or when you're moving, you can't shoot. Okay, and because the weapon is so wobbly. So let's fix that first. Okay, so let's get started with this. The first thing is I'll have to open the animation blueprint, which is right here conveniently in the same skeletal mesh editor. So when I click on blueprint, that's going to open up the blueprint for me. And now all I have to do is I have to first go over to the walk run, or I have to go over to the animation or the state machine, the entire state machine. I have to go to the walk run state because that's where it's going to happen. And here, if you see, the only thing that's happening is the walk run blend space, which takes in the direction and speed and sends it as the final animation pose. Okay, so what we have to do here is, even though it's a blend space, we have to blend two different animations. We have to blend the idle aiming while he's walking and running, and we have to blend also the walk run that he's walking and running. So let's look for idle aiming, and if you drag and drop the idle aiming animation here, you can see that only one animation can be the final result. So if I hook this up, this thing breaks away. If I hook this up, this thing breaks away. So we have to find a way to blend these two guys. Okay, and there's only one way to blend them, that is using a layered blended pose or layer blend pose node. So when I right click and I say let's say layer, and I look for layer, and it says layered blend for bone. So this is what we're looking for. When I click on this, so here you can see this node, it has the base pose, and of course you can add as many poses as you want for blending, and then you can also add the weights, so it will blend accordingly. But we just need to blend one pose, that is the walk run, along with the idle and aiming. So I'm gonna disconnect this, and I'm gonna bring this guy in here, and I'll first connect this to the result, because the resultant animation pose is going to be the final animation, is going to be passed into the final animation pose of the result out here, right? So this will come in here, because this is going to be the base pose. We are working on the walk run and not anything else, so this is going to be the base pose. And the next one is going to be okay, and the next one is going to be the player idle aiming. That will be the blend poses 0. Okay, so now if you compile and if you play it, it's not going to do anything, because it still does not know how this uh, whole thing is classified, how the body or the skeletal mesh of the character is classified. It doesn't know what to blend, because it's one throughout, and it has no idea which part of the body to blend with which part. So for that, we have to go over to the mesh first, and then click on the skeleton. Once you click on the skeleton, it's going to open up on a new window, and we just have to look for a bone that will help us classify the upper and the lower body parts of the character. So essentially what we're doing is we are dividing the whole character or the whole body into two parts, not halves, but two parts. So wherever we draw the line, we say, okay, beneath this hip here, any animation that needs to be played is going to be something, and anything above this hip is going to be something else. So, and we're telling Unreal, okay, this is, no, these are the different parts of the character. Now you figure out a way to blend them. Okay, that's essentially what we're saying. Now we have to look for a bone where we can split it into two parts. So a good bone to search for, you can go on clicking on each bone. I think I'll just go over this. I think that's better. So this is a spine. That's a spine here, which is quite low in the body. And if I look at spine 1, a little above, and if I look at spine 2, that looks like a fine area where you can split the character into two parts. So anything below the spine 2, any of these guys below the spine 2 is going to be playing the walk run blend space, is going to be a part of the walk run blend space, while anything above the spine 2 is going to be a part of the idle aiming blend space. Okay, and there's one word of caution. The names of the bones have to be absolutely perfect, 100% perfect, because we're going to be using the reference for the bone, and we're going to address it. We're going to use the name of the bone as a reference to to call upon this bone and ask the engine to split it into two different parts. But we have to get the name of the bone pretty right. I mean, absolutely right, 100% right, not pretty right, but 100% right. And it's also case sensitive. So if you spell this with a lower s, with a lowercase s, it's not going to work. So it has to be exactly the way it's shown here. So if you want, you can copy this. I don't know if you can copy the bone name, so I don't think you can. Let's see, right click, yeah, you can copy if you want to, or you can just keep it in your mind if you don't want to come over here and copy it. So with that in mind, let's go back to our soldier or an MVP. Okay, out here, if you can click on the blend out here, if you click on the layered blend per bone, and this is the layer setup, and out here it says how many array elements there are. So by default, they always provide you with one array element, one member. So click on this, the 0th member, and then click on this little plus. Okay, and no, not this little plus, but that's okay. I think if I can delete that. Okay, yeah. So inside this member, let me also delete that. So let me click on this, and now it's got two members. Okay, I'll just bring it back to the default. So that is the one member. Click on this, and now it's got two members, that is the bone name and the bone depth. And now you just have to paste the exact same name, so that is spine 2, and the blend depth has to be 1, otherwise it's not going to blend anything. So now when I hit compile, save it, and you should see some change in the way this thing moves. So now you can see that, when I'm moving around, it does not run around a lot, and if I am strafing, it does not really teleport my gun anywhere, and it's pretty decent. And if I'm running around, of course that's because of the camera, that's because the gun is hiding away, but you can't help that, but it's at least working. Okay, and there you go. Okay, it was as simple as that. Again, I hit play, and if I am looking at my feet and if I'm running, I could still see that it's actually playing the normal walk run animation, but at the level above my spine, it's still playing the idle aiming animation. If I want, of course, I can go back to my viewport and I can change this place, maybe the camera or anything. So for that, I think I just have to go here and click on the preview scene settings. The animation can be idle aiming, like that. And now if I click on, let's say, click on this. No, I want to click on, where is my skeleton? There is my skeleton. Preview scene settings, and this would be idle aiming. Okay, and now if I select my weapon attach, now again the same old story. I have to move him a little bit to the front and all that. So if I just move it to the front, and let's see, I don't know, if I hit play, and there you go, not bad. Okay, okay, I could just hit him once, reload, and shoot at him. Okay, reload. Okay, both of them are attacking me. I'll get this guy for. Okay, I got him. And one more guy, not chasing me, but he's on this patrol, but he did not really spot me. And shoot him, got him. Right, so we made this animation smooth, so when I'm running, it's not really teleporting, but it's better than before, and we are able to run around well. So again, if I go over to my soldier animation blueprint, and if I click on this, the blend depth has to be 1, and the player idle aiming has to be the blend pose 1. Okay, and again, if I click on this, which is also fine, sync group, spine 2, so we want to separate it by spine 2, and everything is you can also say mesh space rotation, whether to blend rotations in mesh space or in local space. So when you click on this, you hit play, when you compile this and when you hit play, and you can see that it's actually kind of gotten very stiff. You can also keep it this way if you so like, and it's not moving at all, but you can see that this guy is running. Okay, you can see this guy is the bottom half of the body is doing that. So if you want, you can keep it this way. So it's almost like Counter-Strike, where this thing does not really move. So if I okay, I got him, and so this thing is not moving around. So you can either prefer this, or you can use some rotation, and you can also use the blend weight. So how much do you want the weight to be blend? So if I say 0.5, 0.5, so of course when I compile this and when I hit play, you can see this. So it's blending between them both. It's got a little bit of motion as well. So I think I prefer this. Okay, I'll reload, I'll take this guy out before closing the video. This one, gone. All right, so this is how you make it work. Blend depth has to be 1. If it's not 1, then it's gonna cause issues. And it should definitely not be 0. It can be anything between 0 and 1, depends on how much blend you want to give to the entire, how much depth you want to have, or how much blend depth. It's as simple as that between the two animations. So 1 is an ideal number. 0 meaning that this whole exercise is not going to work anyway, so you might as well not have done it. And then when you click on this, then it's also going to say whether to blend the bone rotations, whether you want to you want to blend them in the mesh space or in the local space. So when you check this, this is going to happen in the mesh space. That's why it wasn't moving the gun all that much. And then I also changed my blend weight to 0.5, so it still blends a little bit. And if it's 1, then it's going to do the entire mesh space rotation, and it's just going to take the base pose. Okay, and we're not going to get into this. It's a little bit advanced, but for now, this is what we're going to do. And we took care of that. Again, when I run around, it's not going to wobble all that much. It's not going to teleport. And if I'm looking down, I can still see that the run animation is being played. Right? Great. So that's about it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Welcome back. So in this video, what you're going to learn is to create a very simple objective system. So right now, the player's aimless. He doesn't know what to do. He has been given a gun, and there are 2 guys running around randomly, and there is an AI cone that he can see. But other than that, he can shoot and he can jump and all that, but he can't do anything much beyond that. He doesn't know what to do. So we have to give him some means of knowing what to do inside the game. Otherwise, it's not much a game. So what we'll do in this video is we'll have some text printed on the right side, on the right top or the left top, or in the center. It doesn't matter. That is entirely up to you, or if you want it elsewhere or in any other way, you can go ahead and do it your way. But I think I would just put it in the center, out here, somewhere like here, center top, and so that it's always out there and he knows what to do. Or I can also put it up in the right top right out here. And once he reaches, let's say if our first objective for the player is to reach here and pick something up, or just reach here. If you want to start it really small, then I'll just say, okay, let's reach here and just stand here. Okay, that's the first objective. That is to first walk, run, whatever you do, sprint, and just reach at this point. And once this point has been reached, once the player has reached this point, one objective has been completed. So we need to update that out here, and we need to tell the player, we need to communicate with the player and inform him that, okay, you have reached your good stuff. Now, now you are ready for your next objective, and the next objective might be to come out to this point and try and shoot any one of these guys, or just shoot any one of these guys. Depends on what we think about. Depends on what we come up with while on the go. Okay, so let's get started with creating a very simple objective system so that we have some sort of aim for the player to go for when he starts the game. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, since the objective is going to be shown as simple text value, it's just going to be shown as text in a corner of our choice, a position of our choice in the screen. So what we have to do is we have to store those text or string variables, or the string values, in somewhere. Either you can choose it in the you can choose to save it inside your controller, or you can choose to save it inside your player itself, or you can choose to save it inside your game mode. I think let's go with the game mode. So if I go back to my assets and look at my blueprints or game modes, this is the third-person game mode that we are looking at. And again, if you go back to project settings, and if you go to maps and modes, and if you say the default game mode, we haven't really selected a game mode. So I think we can go for game mode. Actually, we haven't created a game mode. So the best way to go about this is go back to our character and go back to our player blueprint, and let's save the variable for the text inside here. And also I can see that this is event tech. Okay, let's also move these guys. Let's tidy them up so that it's readable. It's always a good practice. whether you're coding in Blueprint or in some other script. It's always a good practice to tidy it so that it's readable. So when you come back, it's easy to understand. And yes, I think that's okay. All right. And now let's actually create a variable out here. And this will be a variable for, let's say, character variables. Let's put it inside character variables. And I'm going to create a new variable, and I'm going to call this objective list. And this will be a string variable. And I'll put this inside character variables, font or character out here, character variables. And then I will compile that so that this gets exposed. I'll type something in. Let's say I want to type objective sample1 because I don't know what to type now. So I'm just going to go for a sample. And once this objective has been achieved, we're going to change the text to something else. Okay, so once that's done, we have the variable in place. I'm going to close all of these guys because I don't need the blueprints, animation blueprints, or the mesh, or the skeleton either. All I need now is the player and maybe the enemy. If I want to come back, I'll close this. In fact, I'll also close the enemy, and if I need it, I'll come back to it. So look for the UI and inside our widgets, and this is what we're going to be using. HUD is everything, and any objective notifications on the screen is also going to be a part of the HUD. So we have all of this, the bars, the health bar, and the energy bar and the health bar, and armor bar and the health bar, and then we have the ammo and the max ammo and this. So let's drag a text out here and drop it here, and first anchor it. Let's just so that you don't forget. And I'm gonna anchor this to the top right. Okay, and I'll bring this up like that, and I'll say, let's say I'll be 1, and okay, I think 1 and 0 is good. Now I can position it manually. So I'll just position it wherever I want it to be, and I'll just position it here, and I'll position it here like this. And the content for the text of this text block would be objectives. Okay, right? And of course, the size can be a little bigger. It's bold, so let's make it 30. No, 24 is good. Actually, 24 is good. Let's make okay, and let's rename this to label objectives. Okay, label objectives, and then I'm gonna need one more text block. Drop it here. Do the same thing. That will be top right. Corner it out, and I think I'm fine with the height here, so I'll just make the alignment on X to 0.1, not 0.5, and then move it physically. And I'll just move this here, and I don't know if I can underline it. No, there is no underline. There is light, italic, and regular. Okay, anyways, so let me just try this. Okay, let me say something like this can be center. This can be center, and this can also be, this also has to, this can be from left aligned. So if I say move to point A and wait for the first enemy to appear. Okay, and of course this is getting a little too long, so I think what I can do is, if I do that, then that's what's gonna happen. If I do this, that's gonna happen. So I'll keep it a center line, and I'll say auto wrap text, and maybe increase the size like this. Okay, I think and first made okay, and then I'll just move my position X like that, and I will say the font size, I'll increase it to 30 so that this is sticking out really well. So this is objectives, and this is actually the objective itself. This is the label, and this is the actual objective itself. And let's change the color to something like red. Okay, I think I'm looking at the shadow color. Yeah, you have to look at your font color out here, right? And I'll make this red. Okay. And let's also change the name for this text block to txt objectives. Okay. And that's good enough. And when I hit play, I should see this objectives move to point A and wait for the first enemy. Now point A could be anywhere. Now there was just a text. There was just a text out here. So I'm just not gonna add anything there for now. I'll just delete that. Okay, and I'll add it when I want to add it. Okay, and the reason I took off this text and kept it empty because we're gonna be dynamically binding it to something. Okay, and I think I'll just move this to the right so that it's kind of centered. Anyways, okay, and so again, the text for the txt objectives, and we have done this many times before. When you click on this bind button, it's going to create a binding, and it's going to create a dynamic binding. Every frame, it's going to look for any changes, and if there are any changes, it's going to do the necessary thing and just print it there, or change the color, or update the string. And we have done this many times before. We're going to do the same thing now. When you click on create binding, it's going to link the content of this text block with something that we're going to specify it with. And what we're going to specify it with is going to be the objective list objective list variable that we created here. So again, the same drill. I'm going to move this to the right. First, I'll have to cast to player. Okay, and or I can simply get the player character. I can simply get the player character, and I can say get objective list. Okay, that's because I already have it stored, and once that's there, I just need to connect objective list with the return value, and it will do the simple conversion from text to string, and that's it. And now let's play the game. So now when you hit play, you can see that the objective sample 1 has shown up there. Now, of course, you can change this to anything, and that will also show up. So I'll say move to point A and take position. Okay, and that's one objective. Hit play, and you should see move to point A and take position. Now I think I'll go back here, go to the designer, I'll click on the objectives, and I won't have such a strong red. I think I'll just hit OK, and I'll hit play. Also not visible. I think blue is good. Might not be visible again. I think the best is black. This is black. When I hit play, clearly visible, sort of. I don't know. Unless you're looking, okay, fine, whatever, it works. So we're not going to look at the aesthetics for now, but we got this handle. So whatever changes that you make to your player will be appearing here. And of course, we also have the control to make the changes to this even while it's in runtime, so that even this gets changed while in runtime. All right, so now the next big challenge for us, we have the aesthetics narrowed down. We know what it's going to look like. The next thing is, if I play it again, that's what it's going to look like. And I think I should change the color because I'm not able to see it. I think something like red is okay. I think I'm okay with that. Now I'll just make the font not too bold but too light, and if I compile that and play that, and that's, oh, I did not change it. It's still black, red. Okay, and when I hit play now, and not bad at all. I think I'll just move this a little bit up like this. Okay, hit play. All right, great. So move to point A and take position. Now, where is the point A? So we have to define that. Now, what we can do is there are various ways to go about this. You can either create a common blueprint, and all you can do is something like a trigger that we see here, a box trigger. We can have that as the objective trigger. Okay, so every time you get in, and it's going to read out from the list of objectives, it's going to see where you are at right now. whether you're at point A or point B, depending on the design of your game, and it's going to change the variable for the objective list accordingly. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to create a very basic and a generic objective blueprint. And let's say I will put that inside AI character blueprints. I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call this objectives. Okay. And inside objectives, I'm going to create a new blueprint class that will be of type actor. And I'll just call this objective, I don't know, objective one. Okay. And of course, if you want, you can, what you can do is you can have a bunch of, you know, the best way to go about that is to go over to the player controller. Let's look at character, not the character. If you look at the blueprints here, nope, where is the player controller? Game modes, weapons, objectives, character, AI, and blend spaces, not blend spaces. If you go to the third person BP, and even that's been moved away, third person. Let's see the blueprints, the blue. Okay, that's fine. We're not really using that, but let's put everything in the player in that case. Okay, this would be the objective list, and this is not an array. If you want, you can make this an array and you can have a bunch of objectives. So let's say I get get the first one, make it an array first. I'll compile that. It's gonna have issues, and the first one I'm gonna create 3 different elements that's gonna be static, and the first one is move to point A, move to point A, and then I'm gonna move to point B, and then it'll be move to point C. Okay, there's move to point A, move to point B, and move to point C. And then inside HUD, I'll just compile this, and then inside HUD, I'll need one more variable to keep a track of which objective the player is in. So I need another variable, and I'll make this an integer, and this will be just a simple value, and I'll name this objective index. Okay, and of course this will also be a part of character variables, right? Compile that, save that, and by default it's going to be objective index. Now inside HUD, if you go back to the graph, and it's still going to have this issues, that's because it's been changed to an array. Now from an array, what we'll have to do is we'll have to use the player character again. Let's see, I'll have to use the player character again, and I'll have to get objective index. Okay, get the objective index, and this would be let's get rid of this, and I'll put these guys here like that and move them up here, and I want to get a copy and get a copy from which index. That would be this. Now we can connect to this one, and now when I hit compile and when I hit play, I can see move to point A. Okay, and if I change this to objective index to 2, and if I hit play, I should see move to point C. So that works. So we have set that up. Now what we have to do here is we simply have to come back to our blueprints for objectives, and I'll actually rename this to objectives now. It's not specific, so I'll be objectives. Okay, and if I open that up, go over to the full blueprint here, and let's what we're gonna do now is let's see, go back to the viewport, and this is gonna be a simple box collision. Okay, and a box collision, and this is the front. Okay, this is the front of the player. This is the forward vector, and then I'm going to be adding a widget, and let me say, can I add a text render? I think I can. So if I can add a text render, and this will be out here, and this text render will be at the center, and let's see if I can, I don't know, I think I'll just center it somewhere here, and I'll just call this point A just to test it out. And this is point A, vertical alignment, horizontal alignment would be center, vertical alignment would be text center, and now I can rearrange this. That's 0, and point A, that is be 45. That's fine, and I'll just make this a child of the box itself. Okay, and let me rename this to txt objective. There you go. Right, compile that. Okay, and now let's see what it looks like when I place it in the level. So when I place the objectives, let's say I want to place the first point is going to be this. When I place this here, and if I move it there, and of course I have to rotate it and point it here. Now if I want, I can increase the size of the trigger, its end. I'll just put it up here like that. Okay, I don't know if I can see it from here, but if I hit play, can I? Yeah, I think I can see the point A, right? So let's do that. Let's actually increase the box extent to let's say 50 by 50 by 50, right? So that's point A, and I'll compile, and if I go back here, and this is my objectives, I think I'll just delete that and I'll re-add an objective. It says save 50 by 50 by I think 50 by 50 it didn't work. So let me go for something like 100 by 100. I don't know if it's even changing it. It should, but yeah, it does. Yeah, it is changing it. So I'll just move it here and again rotate it in a way that I can see it. Point A. Okay, and when I hit compile, when I play, I can see point A. And let me also move this to the right. In the local axis, I'll just move this to the right so that you can see it. Okay, and let me just check it out inside event graph box, and with this box clicked, I'll just add an event for on, let's say, on component, or maybe not on component. We'll use this action actor begin overlap. Okay, I'll just see what comes in. Okay, print string. Okay, and or in fact, let me first cast this to player, so only player should be able to finish the objectives and not the enemies. And if it's player, then I'll say print string, and I'll say get objective list. Okay, and again I'll do the same thing. I'll get objective index, get objective index, and first I'll say get a copy and of this type. Okay, and then let's also do this once inside objectives in event begin play. Let's see, let's first cast to player. No, let's see. Yeah, let me get the text objective first, and let's see. First I'll say cast to player. Yeah, I was right, cast to player. Okay, and the object would be get player character, right? And once we get the player character, and as player, no, we'll keep this away for now. And as player, I want to get the objective list, and let me move this down. I'll get rid of the event tick for now, and let's move this guy down, and then I'll get the objective index so that I know I want to know which objective it is at right now. And then the text objective will be, let me get a copy, because this is going to be a string again. Get a copy. Okay, and once I get that, then I can say set text, and this will be here. I'll just move him out here. I'll just move him here, and this is going to be connected here. And let me move these guys down a bit so that I can accommodate him. Text objective, and this is a text value, and this is a string value. So let's see if we can directly convert it. And this helps us conversion. This node will help us convert from text to string. Now, let's say I'll compile this first, and I'll go over and I'll just change the objective list to something like move to point alpha. I should see alpha there. When I hit play, and I'm seeing alpha. Okay, and of course, if I use my objective index to actually no, wait, hang on. So if I say I don't want to get the point alpha, in fact, I want to get the point A and point B. Okay. Anyways, if I click play, I can say that I can see that it says move to point alpha out there, right? So instead of objective list, I'll say objective list and move to point beta, move to point Charlie. Okay, so this is going to be the objective list. We're going to need one more of string instead of getting it from the objective list, because the HUD is going to use it from the objective list, but rather the objectives or the text objective out here is going to use something else. What it's going to use, it's a list of point alpha, point beta, and point Charlie. So let's make another. I'll duplicate this and I'll call this objectives. I'll just say objective names. Okay, and I'll compile this, and I'll just call this point alpha, point beta, and point Charlie. Okay, point alpha, point beta, point Charlie. There you go. Now, coming back to objectives instead of objective list. Okay, I think something went wrong. Oh, it had frozen. I don't know why. Instead of objective list, I will get rid of this, and instead I'll get the objective names, right? And once I get that, I'll connect this, and that should show me alpha and whatnot. That would be event begin play, and inside on begin overlap, again, we want to replace objective list with objective names, and connect that to the wildcard here. There you go, right? And once this has been changed on active begin overlap, so what we can do is, no, actually, cast to player, no, I think first is on active begin overlap as player, we need to get this. No, actually, we need to just get we don't need this. We first need to get the objective index, and we need to +1. Okay, we need to integer +1, and then after that we can change whatever's there inside the HUD. And for that to be changed, we need to change, let's say, we need to be able to access the objective index, and this will automatically take it from there, right? So once we just need to change the objective index, and once that's done, and as player, we just need to do this, and then I do not think I need anything else. So let's see, and let me first compile this, and let me see if I'm even getting in there. Okay, if I hit play, and let's see, just hit play, and I can see point alpha, and it says move to point alpha. So if I move in there, and if I come here, actually it did not do that. Okay, let's see. Okay, and once that is there, and we have to set, okay, we have to get this, and we have to say set objective index, and then once I do that, I'm going to connect this, and the objective index is going to be the new index. So let's see if that works. Okay, and I'll say compile and play, and that's point alpha out there, and I'm walking through this. There you go. So now that's changed to point beta. Now the only thing we have to do is we have to put in point alpha, point beta, and point point alpha, point beta, and point Charlie, and this has to go away once we reach there. So the best thing to do that would be, let's say if this is point A, then I would say I would add in one more objectives. Okay, I would add in one more objectives, and I'll add it here. Okay, and move it around here, inside here. Okay, and the best thing would be to first turn this off, or let's see, there are other ways to do it, but first thing is, let's actually destroy this objective. I'll just say destroy actor. Okay. Play, and I'll just move in here, and once I do that, that destroys, and it says move to point beta. Now we don't have a point beta, but you know the drill, what to do, and of course we can do all other things. So now we have some purpose. There are so many other ways that you can do it, not actually the objectives. This was just an example of what you can do by simply placing an objective. Now your objective need not even be to move to some point. Your objective might be to take one of these two guys out, or both of these guys off, with maybe one objective might be to actually not use more than one magazine to take one guy out, and at the most you could have only used two magazines to take both of these guys out. Okay, so that could be one objective, and all of these different things can be done in various different ways, but this is how you get the simple objective based game. Very, very simple introduction to how objectives are run. Okay, so that's about it, and we will keep on working on this, and before that I'll just want to tidy it up. So I'll move this down, put them all in a straight line, and I'll move this down as well, like this. Okay, and I think I'm happy with that. Great. So compile that, save that, and maybe if you want, you can also add an emitter. You can say, you can add an emitter right here inside the box. You can add a particle system, and the particle system could be, I don't know, a smoke. I don't know. If you look at that, there is a candle flame. There is, I don't know, let's see if there's a smoke particle system available for us. There's a P smoke puff, and compile that, and auto activate needs to be turned off so that we can activate it. And before we destroy it, we'll just say spawn emitter attached. Okay, spawn emitter attached, and the emitter template would be this. No, we can't do that. In fact, let's not do that. In fact, let's change, let's say spawn emitter at location, and let's select smoke puff, I guess, smoke puff, then wait for, I don't know, half a second, delay, and let's wait for 1 second before destroying the actor. And the location would be get actor location, or even get this guy's location. Why not? Let's try get location. That would be get world location. Okay, and give it that. Scale is okay. Compile that. Play. And come here. And now inside. There you go. You could see the smoke. Okay. Oh, of course, it's constantly playing. That's because it's a loop. Okay. So let's select something else. Maybe a candle flame. I don't know. Let's try it out. Okay. And there you go. All right, that's because all of these are in loops. So I think the best would be for explosion. P underscore explosion again. Play, and there you go. Okay, it won't explode again. That's not a loopable particle system, and also the objectives has to be changed to move to point beta. Excellent. So we have taken care of the objectives. Of course, we will work on it a little bit more for extending on how to go about for adding the point beta, beta and point Charlie. Okay, so that's about the introduction to the objectives, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Hello and welcome back. So what we have so far is in the last video we worked on the objectives part. So if I play the game now, and if I have to run through, let's say I run through this and I go over to point alpha, and there's an explosion, and then it says objective move to point beta. Okay, now we don't have a point beta yet. So what we can do now is, you have those objectives. So let's go over to edit objectives, and you have the txt objectives, which says, say, you have what we're doing here is on actor begin overlap, we are casting it to player, and then we are going over to the objective index +1. So if you go back to the player, and if you look at, let's say, character variables, objective list, if you go to the objective list, it says move to point alpha, move to point beta, and move to point Charlie, right? So let's say if I hang on there to, this is another objective, and then it adds on to the objective index, and then after that it spawns an emitter at the location, then it has a delay of 1 second, and then it destroys the actor. So what we can do is we can actually, let's say, if I can bring this up, if I can duplicate this, okay, if I can duplicate this and put it in here and go down there, okay, and let's see, I say actor hidden in game for now, but for that, let me go back to my objectives and let me make this is a component, right? So let's see if it's a text objective, it's a point A. So let me go back here and let me look at the text objective here, and this would be point B. Okay, point B. Okay, and this says point A, point B. And for Charlie, let me make another copy. Not that. Go back there and make it an objectives copy by hitting Alt, keeping Alt pressed, and moving it back here, and then I'll just rotate it so that I can see it better, and then move it here somewhere. Okay, and this will be, let's say, point C. Okay, and both of these guys, objectives 2 and so let's rename this, instead of objectives A 2 and 3, let's rename this to point A. Okay, and then I'll call this point B. Okay, and this would be point C. All right, so now we have these 3 points. Now this point A will be the one that will not be hidden in game, and point B will be, actor hidden in game, and then point C will also be hidden in game. So I'll just check quickly. If I hit play, I shouldn't be able to see point B and point C, and I should just be able to see point alpha. Okay, and now of course when you go back there, so if I go back to my objectives, go back to my event graph, and out here, on event begin play, it gets the character and it goes over to the next character index, and then it sets the text to whatever it is, whatever the text objective is. Okay, so let's do this. This is only running it once, right? So let me do this. I'm going to cover all of these and except this, and I'll right click and I'll say collapse to function so that I can reuse it later on. I'll say collapse to function, and okay, and this is okay, that's it, right? So, and this function, let's call it, let's give it a name. Let's call this, what does it do anyways? It gets the player character. This is the new function. It gets the player character and it sets the objective text, right? So let's call this set objective text. Okay, set objective text, right? And then once it does that, event graph, inside event graph, back in the event graph, so after it destroys actor, let's run check to see the objective index. Let's see, and let's first look at that. I'll go back to my player and let's look at the objective index and objective list, and let's also get, these are 3 elements. So let's do this. Let's go back to objectives, and after this, let's say I'll get the player. This is the player, to get the player character and everything. So again, let me do this as player. So there's one more thing, or you can just say get player character. Get player character. Now inside here, you can cast it to player. Cast to player, right? Now as player, first let's make a variable. Okay, let's connect this first and then make a variable here, and I'll call this num objectives. Okay, this will be an integer like that, and then as player we will get the objective, I think list, I guess. Let's go back here and let's check. Yeah, that's the objective list. So come back here and then let's just get the count. Okay, and let's say, or length. Okay, and that would be, this is a float, this is an integer value, that's okay. And then let's set the num objectives, connect this, and then just connect that. Okay, and move these guys up here so that they're all in a straight line and looking nice. And one more, and I think that's okay because I don't want to break this straight line anyway. So once that's there, so we have the num objectives, and we don't need to create a function for this because this just going to be run once, so I won't bother creating a function. And once this is done, let's have an if statement. So when I hit F, if I want an if statement, if I type if in here, and it'll directly take me to the branch, and we just need the branch, and then we just bring in the num objectives here, and we have to check whether this is equal to, whether it is, let's say, num objectives. So we have, instead of this being called num objectives, I'll say objectives cleared, right? And objectives cleared, and this is the length. Objectives cleared, or let's say objectives to clear. Okay, so that will be 3 when you start the game, right? And every single time we do this, after the actor gets destroyed, let's actually say, okay, there's an extra L there, get rid of that. So we'll say get objective, and we'll say minus, okay, and that will be minus equal to 1, and then we'll just set objectives to clear to whatever that amount is. Okay, and after we do that, and just to check whether the objectives to clear is less than 0, and we'll say branch. Okay, and then we again get the objectives to clear, or we can reuse this, or we can bring it again out here, and we can check is less than, not less than equal to, but less than 0. If it's less than 0, and actually I would say greater than 0, or let's go back with if less than equal to less than 0. So if it's less than 0, if it is true, then we don't want to do anything. We just want to print something right now, and we just say game over, I guess, game over or something, or all objectives cleared, good job. Okay, and if it's not the case, which means that there are still objectives remaining, then all we have to do is we have to set the objective text again. We just say set objective text, okay, and that's about it. And let's see if this works. If not, then we'll have to look for something else, but this should work. Let's see. And I'll just bring this down a bit, compile that. Now let's see. So set objective text, and also before we set the objective text, we also have to set up the next one in line. So this would be let's say we also have to bring in all of these guys. So go back to objectives, and let's also say objective index, okay, and this will be exposed variable. Compile that, and based on the objective index, that will be shown. Let's see, objective index, and first come back here and point A, objective index, if I can see that, that will be 0, and this will be 1, okay, and this will be 2. Okay, so now we have a sequence of all the objectives that need to be carried out in order to finish all of them all, or when to make which appear. So inside the set objective text, so we also go for, so every time an objective is cleared, let's go back here and let's say objectives to clear is this. And before we also call this branch, or yeah, before we call this branch, let's move this to the right. And after objectives to clear, let's increment set objective, okay, and connect this, and then look for the branch like that. And let's say plus 1, and this would be objective index plus 1, right? So that should take care of that. And then once we have the objective index in here, I think I can bring this back here and also bring the branch statements to the left like that, okay. And then once we have that, compile that, save, compile and save. Set inside set objective text, before even we call the set objective text, we have to say, I have to move this to the right. When it's not less than 0, then we have to actually we have to see again if branch, if, in fact, let's change this a little bit. We already are adding objective index plus 1 to objective index, so let's not add it again. And so let's get rid of this and this, okay, and connect this first. And instead of making this an objective index, go back to objectives, compile that, and so objective index will be gone. So instead of objective index, we'll control W and we'll call this objective ID, okay, and that we will expose, and we'll say expose instance editable, okay. So that should make it yellow, and now we can give it the objective ID. So this will be 0, and this will be 1, and this will be 2. So now we can actually compare it against the objective index that we have. So let's just run a quick check. So let's say I'll just move this to the right, and whether or not that runs, I don't care, but I just want to see what the objective index is, okay. So I'll just I'll just get the index, get it, and I can just connect this so that it'll convert it, and let's see what I can see when I run into there. So that is my point alpha. I don't see anything else. So when I run there, and there you go, and that's objective index 0, okay. I think objectives to clear, so objective index plus 1, that would be okay. All right, so this was the objective index of this guy. So let's also, yes, actually, let me get this objective index, in fact, and let me get rid of this. Okay, and let me do you is an objective index is in use? No. Where is it actually being used? And this is objective index, and let me just actually right click and find references. It says get objective index. Oh, this is one. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Now I can just delete it, and let me again compile this first and find references, and I can see nothing. Now I can delete it, and yes, if I compile it, should I be able to run it? Let's see if it all works. Alpha point a hello, right? So now of course it's just going to print hello. That's okay. Now I just want to get this guy as objective index, so let me see if I can bring this objective index out here. Okay, set objective index as player. Okay, I think I'll just bring this back. So this is the objective index here, and objective index, and this would be objective index is 0. If I compile this, it would be 0. So this should show it as objective index as 1, right? So let me bring it back, and let's see if I get the objective index, connect this like that. If I hit play, okay, point alpha, it's 0. All right, so let's use the same objective index that we were using, not this one. So I'm going to get rid of this, and instead I'll use this objective index, and let's see if it works. So if I just connect this to this, okay, and it's going to be coming here, and of course I'll have to add some readout nodes to make it look good, like this, and then do that to do this, right? And just bring this down. That's good. Now let's see what it prints. Okay, so when I hit compile and play, okay, I go through the pane volume, endure the pane. Okay, I go there, and now it's showing 1. Now all we have to do is we have to check whether this objective index, this objective index is equal to our objective ID, right? So now we can get rid of this print string, and we can also get rid of this. Now we don't have to really create another variable. In fact, we can use the same one, and we can just say if first is we have to see, let's see, first is we have to bring this in, okay, and we have to connect this. We have to see whether the objective is even objectives to clear, even the objectives to clear, are there any objectives left to be cleared? Okay, so first we do that, and then if it's false, then we see whether this objective index. Now first let's say find references, and then nothing found. So I can go ahead and delete it, and it says variable is in use. I don't know, is it a bug? So I'm trying to compile it, save it, and I right click and I say find references, and I'm not able to find anything. Okay, right click and find references. Nope, nothing. So if I can right click and if I can delete it, it says it's in use. Very weird. Now if I right click and if I just type in something _1, compile that, and this does not change. So I don't see where it's in use anywhere at all. I don't think it's in use anywhere. Right click, and if I find references, nothing. Right click and delete it. There it goes. So that's a bug. That's a bug in the editor, but can't help that. Anyways, so now we just have to check. If this is the case, then we just want to check whether the objectives. So I'll just get rid of this. I just want to check whether this is equal to, if this is equal to objective ID. Okay, if this is equal to objective ID, and if I can just make it pretty like this and bring it down to align with it. Okay, and if this is equal to objective ID, then the first thing we have to do is we have to, if it's true, then we first have to access the hidden in game rendering part, and we have to reactivate it. So we have to say hidden in game, set actor hidden in game, and the new hidden will be false. Okay, so let's first see if that we are even getting that. Are we even getting that far? So I'll play and I'll complete the point alpha. Okay, and there you go, and we cannot see the player. Are we able to see it? Nope. So let's see if, so let me go back to my ID, and objective ID is 1, point C is 2. So let me actually, instead of set actor hidden in game, okay, so I think the new hidden will be, should I, let's say visibility, let's say, or activate active, set active, the default scene root, the new active will be true. I don't know, so let's try this out. So once we do that, point alpha, okay, that goes away, and if you look there, nothing is found. Let's see, I hit F1. Actually, the reason being, let's compile this. We're actually checking it inside the overlap of some other actor. So what we have to do is we have to check in the tick of something else. We have to check in the tick of the other actor. So first, let's just first see whether all the actors are even, registering themselves. So I'll just say print string, and just to know that all the actors are registering themselves, I'll just create a new variable and just call this label, and this will be a string value, and I'll make this a public variable, exposable variable, so that I can see it in the editor. Compile that, and let me first see, I'll name this to point A, and then point B, okay, and then point C in the end, point C. Save that. Now objectives, inside objectives, I'll just see what the label is, as simple as that. And I hit play, I should be getting to see A, B, and C. So all of them are registering even though they're not seen in the game, right? So which is great. So I'll just delete that, and I'll also get rid of this variable. Okay, delete that, compile, save. Now actually we don't have to really check this objective index and everything here, so I'll just hit delete, and in fact I'll also get rid of, let's see whether this thing works. Okay, and I think it's a good idea if I, let's say this is setting objective index. So if I go back to the player, I can see an objective index here. So I don't know if this is the one. So if I right click and if I hit underscore player, objective index underscore player, and I hit compile, I should get a change there, and there it is. So this is the objective index player. So let's see, let's have a local variable like we did earlier. This is quite painful. So if I just do that and just get rid of this, I'll right click here, and then I'll just right click here and I'll say promote to variable, and I'll call this objective counter or something, objective counter, and I'll set this up and connect this. Now I can check against objective counter which I have locally, right? So, and if I do that, I'll bring it back here like this. That looks fine. Now all I have to do is I have to check against the objective counter and the objective ID. So I'll say inside event tick, or I can just say, let's see, inside event tick, yeah, event tick, inside event tick. We'll have to have one more boolean variable, so I'll just create it and I'll say objective cleared. This will be a boolean variable, okay, and objective cleared, and let's see, or I'll just say objective on instead of cleared, objective on. So compile that. So now when, let's see if inside event on set objective text, before everything else, let's see if, Okay, so you can also have it this way. If the objective is on, then you can go ahead and do it only when the objective is on. So what we can do is, instead of using this, there's another way. So we can look for is hidden. So when you type is hidden or just hidden, you can see get actor hidden in game, right? And then you can have a branch node. Okay, and if it is indeed hidden, then I want to go ahead and print something to the screen. So let's see if I can get rid of that. Print string. I just print hello, and if I just hit compile and I go back and I play the game. So let's say I hit play, and I can see only hello, but I'm not sure which objective it's coming from, right? So now, in order to see that both of them are working, what we can do is we can have the same variable called label. Okay, and I think this time I'll keep it, and that's a string variable, and we'll expose it. We won't delete it this time. And going back here, give it a label. Okay, so for point A, I'll be calling this point A. Okay, and point B would be point B, and point C would be point C. Okay, either you can do that, or if you don't want to expose it, then you can simply on event begin play, you can get the name of the player, you can get the name of the actor, and you can convert that to a string and pass it on to the label. Okay, so once we get the label, all we have to do is we can just connect it to the string so that it'll print the string it'll print the label as a string. When I hit play, you should be able to see point C and point B, but no point A, because point A is already it's not hidden in the game, right? So now we have some leeway into what we can do. So we can bring in the hidden again. So we can say get actor hidden in game. So if it is hidden, if it's not hidden, let's say if it's hidden, and if it's hidden and let's say, and if it's hidden, if it's true, then let's see if I can say and boolean, and this result will be connected to the condition. And let me move this to the right a little bit, zoom in, and if it's hidden and the objective ID is equal to, let's say objective ID is equal to the objective index player. Okay, and so we already have the objective counter. We already are storing it inside objective counter. So if this objective ID is equal to objective counter, okay, so that's the second condition. If it's hidden and if its objective ID is equal to the second counter, which means that we have to actually turn it on and then get rid of this. So in that case, so if it's true, then I'll say set actor hidden in game, and the new hidden will be false, so it says whether or not to hide the actor and all its components. So when I hit compile, and let me just see whether it works. Okay, going back here. So once we get here and I go over to point alpha and I click that out, and if I look there, I do not see it. That's because if I hit F8 and if I look at point B, its objective ID is 1 and it's still actor hidden in game. Let's inspect what's really happening there. So if this is hidden and objective ID equals objective counter, so let's first see if objective ID is okay. Yeah, so that's because objective counter is always going to be set up for this particular instance and not the other ones. So we have to do the same thing, and objective counter has to be, we have to cast to player. First we have to cast to player, and we'll make it a pure cast. Okay, and this will be get player character, right? Get player character, and then as player get objective index player, and if this equals that, then let's bring that up. Okay, so objective counter is not going to be of much assistance to us because that's a local variable. Okay, so then again, when I hit play, go there and let's see what happens. So I hit point alpha, it goes away. If I come here and there, you can see that you have the point alpha again. So in this case, what we have to do here is we have to come back to objectives, and the set actor hidden in game will be true. And before that, you have to come back and you have to set the objective text. Okay, so for setting the objective text, we have to just do it once. So we'll just say set objective text, and let's see how this works. Let's see if it even works. Compile that. Now hit play, go back here, point alpha, and there you go. And when you come here and there, you can see point beta. Okay, and when I come here and then it goes away, and there you can see point Charlie, and they finish that, and you can see enemy. Okay, we haven't finished that yet. So, but at least we can go over from one place to another. So once that's done, you set the objective text, and this stops because hidden is no longer true. So this thing will never work anyways, right? So in that case, when object overlap, so when you do that, and if it is objectives to clear is -1, and if it is false, then you can say all objectives. If it is true or less than 0, I do not think, let's see if it shows less than equal to 0, less than equal to 0. Okay, and let's see if it is false, then I don't think we need to do that at all. So I'll just go back, play, point alpha, boom, goes away. You can see point beta, boom, goes away, and you can see point Charlie, and boom, that goes away. And let's see, I think I want to fix this thing. Let's put a breakpoint here. So I'll just right click and I'll say add, let's see, add breakpoint, and let me come back here, pause, and boom. Okay, and boom. I don't even think it's coming there, is it? So this is set objectives to clear after the actor is destroyed. Is it even? I don't think it's even coming there. So remove breakpoint. So let's see, move this and to the right a little bit. This is painful. I have to select them all, get this and move this to the right. Let's see, do we have to call it before the actor is destroyed? So print string, okay, hello. So when I hit play, I don't see anything on the screen. Point alpha destroyed. Okay, it does work. So why does this not work? So this is objectives to clear is -1, and let's get rid of this. Okay, let's get rid of this just for once. Let's just print string. Let's debug whatever you see in the objectives to clear at the moment, right? So from 3 it should reduce down to 2. Let's see if that works, and if it works, then we'll move on with creating the other things. Compile, and when I hit play, okay, and point alpha, go. So that shows 2. So that works. All right, so I think there was something else that came up. So 2, that moves. Okay, all right, so that works. So in which case, just move this to the left. In which case, after this works, we just have to see if objectives to clear equal to the objective ID. So which would be, I think objectives to clear would be, all right, so that's because objectives to clear, we have the objectives ID as this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2, right? So instead of that, so if you want to have 1, 2, and 3, then should say 1, 2, and 3, I guess, right? So if you make it that way, then objectives to clear and objective ID, and then we check whether objective ID equal to objective index player, or no, actually that's good. So it's like 2, 1, and 0. Okay, so going back here, so we just have to check. So when it's 2, obviously it's going to be the point P, and which is the objective ID, however, is 1. So without actually disrupting the objective ID, so let's check in this way. So let's see, I'll just put a branch here, branch, and inside here, I'll say if objectives to clear, that would be 2. So minus objectives to clear minus 1 equal to, if minus 1, if this is equal to objective ID, this is equal to objective ID. Let's see what happens, which means that it should be, so this will be 2, and then minus 1 would be 1. And if that is equal to the objective ID, or in fact, it should not be even coming here. Set objectives to clear, that's just fine. Objectives to clear. So, what we can do is, we can instead say objective ID equals objective index player. So instead we can do this here. So instead of actually doing it there on begin actor overlap, so let's just get rid of this. We can go back to the tick here, and actually we're not even using that. So we're just using the objective ID, and we're using the objective index player. So objective ID is 0, 1, and 2, and objective index player is also somewhere close to that. So 0, 1, and 2. So once that is, once we unhide that, so what we can do is, we can also say if objective ID equal to, let's say, if objective index player, okay, and I think the objectives to clear should be coming in from this player, and let's actually make this variable, go back to here, and this is length. So what we can do is, in fact, we don't need this, and I don't think we are using objectives to clear anywhere else, so we can get rid of this code where we are actually getting the objectives to clear and casting it and all that. Instead, we can first compile this, and we can get rid of objectives to clear for now. Okay, go back to player, and let's create a variable here, and let's call this objectives to clear from here, and this will be an integer, and this will be a part of the characters variable. If I can go to the default category, character variables, compile that, and this will happen just once. So inside event begin play, after all of this, I will get the objective list. Okay, get it, and then say get length. Okay, get the length, and then just set the objectives to clear. And this is just going to be set once because there is no more setting it. It just has to be set once. Objectives to clear, and then you compile that, and then inside objectives, we can check inside event tick. We can say as player. Let's see, as player. We can say we can get objectives to clear. If objectives to clear, and in fact, every time an objective is cleared, we can, after the actor is destroyed here, you can get the player again. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's actually get the player character. Get the player character and cast to player. At this point, I know that it's going to work, so I don't need, I'll just use it as a pure cast. Okay, and as player, I'll just set objectives to clear, set objectives to clear, and in here, okay, and this will be minus, and okay, let me move this to the right, and this will again be get objectives to clear. Move this to the right again, okay, and then connect this like that, okay, and move these guys a little bit up like this, okay, and so we set that, and we minus equals minus 1, so we subtract it by 1, and then we check. We say branch, if this is less than 0. Let's see what happens if it's less than 0. We'll see, and we'll just try saying here all objectives cleared or something. All objectives cleared. Let's see if we even get here, right? And we know that we are setting this up as objectives to clear from the objective list. And let's go back and let's check. So once we come here, we go to point alpha, that goes away. Should be able to see point beta, which also goes away. And then we see point Charlie, that goes away. There you go. Okay, that doesn't work. So let's see what's wrong there. So let's go back to objective and let's see. And if its objectives is less than, let's say less than 1, and objectives, maybe this should work. If it's less than 1 works, then we should have less than equal to 0, point beta, and then the last one would be point Charlie. There you go, all objectives cleared. All right, so of course it's actually less than or equal to 1, 0, that is less than or equal to 0. Okay, so we have reached a point where we are able to detect where all the objectives are closed, all the objectives are cleared. So it took a while for us. It was a little complicated, but we finished it. And in the next video, what we'll do is we'll actually have the HUD come up once all the objectives are cleared. And one more thing I'll do before I close this video is going back to objectives here. And I do not want a duration time of 1 second. In fact, I want a duration time of 0.5 seconds, half a second. Okay, coming back here, play, and point alpha, that goes away right almost instantly, which is better than before. Point beta goes away, and point Charlie, all objectives cleared. Great. At this point, the game should be over and it should take me to the next level or something like that. Okay, so that's about it for this video. It took a while for us to get all the objectives in place, but you can, at this point, you can place as many objectives as you like, and you can also have, you can also, what you have to do is every time you create an objective here, and we also have to go over to the player, and you can also have to say the objective list has to match the number of objectives in here. All right, number of objectives in the level. Okay, if you want these objectives to, if you want these number of objectives to be a set number, then it's a completely different ball game. But for now, you have to do this. You have to go back to player, you have to go to the objective list, and you have to add as many objective lists you have, as many objectives you have in this array is going to be the number of objectives you also have in the level. So if you add a point D, it might work, but of course it's going to have a conflict here because it doesn't know what to print. So you have to have this ready. This has to move, this has to work in congruence with the number of objectives in the level itself. So you just have to keep that in mind. But of course, the objectives to clear is automatic because we are actually looking it up in event begin play. And also objective names has to be set. So all of these has to be done before everything works. But that's again, you just have to keep in mind how many, that's again goes with the design. If you're going to need 5 objectives, then you better name them something, right? And if you're going to name them, then why not also fill up the array in these variables out here? As simple as that, right? So in the next video, we'll start putting up the HUD together and for the game mode and everything else after the objectives are finished and all that. Welcome back. So in the last video, we finished up all the objectives and it took us a while, but we did finish it off. And now, as I promised in the previous video, in this video, we're going to take a look at making the UI look a lot prettier. So right now, if I play the game, you can see ammo and max ammo to the left, and you can see an objectives text to the right hand corner, top right corner, and then you also see the objective itself. And also the bars, they don't look great. It still looks like a prototype. I mean, it's still a prototype, yes, but at least we can still make it look a little more prettier, a lot more prettier, in fact. So I'm going to bring in some assets straight into our project. So if I go over to my assets folder, and if I go to my textures, not textures, but if I go to UI and sprites and images, and in here, let me bring in all my projects. So if I bring in there, and if I drag and drop everything inside right here, and so this is inside crosshair, and we're not going to worry about the crosshair, but this is everything that I brought in. So you have icon files, like you have the AK-47 icon, which is prefixed with ICO, armor icon, which is prefixed with ICO. So all the icons are prefixed neatly with ICO, and also the grenade icons and the health and the M4A1, and then you also have some of the some background images for the bars down there, and then the blood splashes anyways there. Then you have the hit marker and all that. So right away I'm going to hit save all, so that it saves everything along with the level and the widget blueprint. So I'm going to hit save selected, and that should save everything. So give it a while. Now let's just go through every single file. So I'll just open some files and I'll quickly go through it, and I'll see if it's looking fine. So this is the border, which will sit by the armor counter. And then if I look at my icon for the AK-47, this is what it's going to look like when you have selected AK-47. That icon is going to light up. And this is for the armor icon. And then you also have the health icon, so that's going to form the the bars down there that you see right now. And then you also have the icon for M4A1, which we haven't started yet, but down the line, once we finish off our AK-47, and then we can bring in a different kind of weapon. And then you have kill feed, which is this, and then you got the minimap. You got the minimap arrow, so it will indicate where in the map are you walking towards right now. And then it also has a minimap border that's going to be towards the top left corner, so that we have to decide still. And then this is going to be the timer BG, so everything is there and for us to make it look pretty. All right, so once we have all the assets in, let's start actually creating putting all of these assets inside the HUD. So we have the damage effect HUD, we have the damage effect widget, the dynamic crosshair widget, and also the HUD widget, the one that we are going to make all the changes to. So going back to the designer view, so you have this objectives, which is out here. Then you have the ammo, and you have these bars, which are out here. So in fact, you know what? I'm going to say a percentage of 1 and a percentage of 1 out here as well. So why not? Just so that I can figure out. This bar is a health bar, and this is going to be the armor bar. So let's rearrange things, okay? So out here, we're going to need the objectives. The objectives is going to be here. And also, I'll have some text, default text, move to objective A or something. All right. So I'll have to move these two guys, objectives and the move to objectives, both of these. So I'll move them out here because I want this out here. And objective is going to be towards the left, and I'll have something else on the right. And then the ammo out here and the ammo bar, the whole ammo section, including, so if I move this here, the whole ammo section along with everything, all the ammo thing and everything else, that's going to be towards the right. All right. And then the health bar and the armor bar both, are going to be towards the left. Okay, so now that I moved them to the respective corners, of course, I'll also have to change the anchor position. So for objectives, I'll have to anchor it towards the top left. And for move to objective A, I'll have to also anchor it towards the top left. And then I'll come down here and I'll do the justification as align text to the left. And then I'll just move this guy out here like that. Okay. So something like this, move to objective A, And of course, we can change this later on, but let's see for now. We can, the positions, we can change it later on. But for now, I just want to set up the anchor positions for all of them. And for this, the anchor position is going to be bottom left. And also this is going to be bottom left, right? And for the ammo section, it's going to be bottom right. All right. And now I'm going to bring in images so that I can set up the borders for each of these. So you have borders here, you have borders there, and all of these will be having borders. So I'm going to have to drag an image and again set it up to left anchor. And then again, I'll have to bring one here and set it to the right anchor. So for this, I'll bring in an image, which will be, I think that will be kill feed border. There you go. Okay, so that's the kill feed border. Not the kill feed, rather I'll go for the minimap border, because that is the other way around, right? And then again, this will also be anchored to the top left. And now I just have to give it a proper size. Okay, and let's give it a proper size. So let's give it 110 by 33, right? Okay, and let's place this in a proper corner. And I'll just place this somewhere here, like this. Okay, and let's just note its position is 32 by 32, and that's anchored to the top left. And this would be, again, let's say this will be the kill feed border, right? And we'll have the same size as 110 by 33, and this will also be a 32 by 32. I think minus 32 by 32 will be fine, or minus 32, or minus 64. I think, let me actually bring it over to the left like that, and let me see if it matches. And then this is about, let's see, okay, that's about 1 2 3 4 5 and 1 2 3 4 5. Let's do the same thing, and so we, okay, so let's, 5 would be here and out here. This will be 1 2 3 4 5 and 1 2 3 4 5. I think that's okay. I believe that's perfect. And 3 out there, 1 2 3 4 5 6. I think one extra, so bring it there. So that would be 1 2 3 4 5. If I draw out and see, I think this is fine. Maybe, and this guy, and if I look at him here, this is minus 132 and 24, so this will be 32. So if I say 32, I think that should be the same height. And if this is 32 from the left, position X, and this should be minus 132, okay, and this is 110. Let's say 110 plus 32 minus 142. How's that like? I think that's about perfect, right? Yeah. All right. So now we're just having the borders first, and then we'll place everything else. And we also aptly, anchored all of these UI elements to the respective corners. So that also works for us. Okay. And so I'm just going to hit compile, and I'll just wait, go back here, and let's see if that's even looking out there. Okay. So I can see those borders and I'm happy with them. Now, of course, I can move around and everything will work just fine, but that's not what I'm looking for. I mean, I just wanted to look for the borders, and everything else is at least there in its respective positions and anchored fine. Okay, so the next thing we will be moving on to is we'll be going back to the HUD and we'll be trying and moving and changing the position or this guy, right? So for the first thing, I'll be saying armor bar is fill, color, and opacity is 1 and all. So let's see if for the first thing, I'll have to go over to the style. Okay, and I have to change the background image and the fill image. Now this is the health bar is the first one and the armor bar is the second one. So for the background image, we have, if you go back here to the content browser, look at sprites and images, and you can see that you have the border fill bar fill BG and the bar no fill BG. Okay, and then you also have the health border and the armor border, right? So for the bar itself, we're gonna have something like the for the fill image, for the background image, we're gonna bring in bar no fill BG, right? And for the fill image, we'll bring in bar fill BG, right? So now you can see that it has this kind of look to it. Now, of course, if you go down here and you look at the fill color and opacity, you have to bring it all back to 1. So that'll be 1 and 1. And now it should be looking like that, right? And also, if you go back here, I think we should also change the image size itself. Okay, so the image size here is 291 by 6. Now the position here instead, size X and size Y is 300 by 440. So at least we're gonna match it up with the width. So that'll be 291. And the size Y will be, let's say 20, right? Or if you say 6, that's also fine, which is also looking good. Maybe you should bring it down to the original size itself. Okay, and of course, when you select this, we also have to look for the margin, which is point whatever. So we'll bring the margin back to 0, and then once that's taken care of, we'll go over to the health bar, and we'll do the same thing. We'll bring in the size X to 291 and size Y to 6, so that's there. For the armor bar, it's 222 by minus 77. So let's figure this out. I think we should be bringing it out to the right a little bit and down. So that will be 352 by minus 128. So this will be also 352, and that's okay. All right. And again, this has to change. First, the margin has to change to 0. Okay, and the image has to change to bar no fill for the background image, and for the fill, the image will be bar fill BG. There you go. All right, and also the margin will go down to 0, and let's make sure that the margin is 0 across all the sections. So you have the 0 0 margin out here, and you also have the 0 0 margin out here. Now going back here, if I look here in the fill color and opacity, again bring it down to 111, so it's all white, just to see that it works. Now if you might want to just fiddle around with your percentage, and there you can see that it's actually looking quite good. You have this translucent background, and as I am moving back and forth, it is actually filling up really well. And let's check for the other bar as well. This is the armor bar, health bar. No, I think this is armor bar. Yeah, this is the armor bar. So everything works fine. Now this is just one piece of the puzzle where you have, you just have the bars here, but also there has to be some indication on which bar is which, and it also has to be some kind of good looking borders. So right now they're just bars and they don't mean much yet. So first compile it, and we'll also go on adding the borders for these bars. Okay, so what I'm envisioning is you're gonna have borders to give it a good look, and then you're gonna have icons to depict what is what. All right. So first thing is, let's bring in the icons and then bring in the text value or the value of the health bar itself. Right next to the icon, we're gonna have a text which reads the amount or the percentage or the amount of health armor that you have, your player has, and it's real time. We haven't written the functionality, but we will hook it up later on. But for now, so let's actually first add the icon. So this is the health bar. So I'm going to bring in an image and I'm going to drop it here. Okay, and again anchor it to the bottom left. Okay, and then I'll bring in ICO underscore here. This is I think the health bar. Yeah, ICO underscore health. Right, this is the health bar, right? Yeah, and of course this is image size is 20 by 20. So if I size this to content, that would go on. Actually, yeah, that's fine. So if I just bring this here, okay, and that is fine, like that. Or this is size to content is good. If I say 20 by 20, not gonna change. Doesn't matter because that size it to content. And then we have another image. Let's drop it. Let's drop the image here. So we're setting up the icons first. This will be the armor, and this will be ICO underscore armor. There you go. And again, size it to content. So that should be 20 by 20. And let's give it the same position on X. That will be 100 by, so whatever that is, that's 100. Okay. And now at this point, we also gonna need some text here. So let's start renaming these images. Now this is, let's call this border underscore. This will be the minimap, which we'll be writing it later on, writing a functionality for it. And this will be the border. Let's call this border underscore kill feed. Okay. And then this is ICO icon underscore health. Okay. And this will be ICO underscore armor. Okay. And then we're going to need the text in there, some text. So text block, and drop it here. And the size has to be brought in by, let's say, 16. 16 is good. And let's size it to content. And let's also move it to the left a bit. And that would be, position is 72, or let's make it 70. Let's do the same thing for this. Position would be 70 and 992. And for the text block, and again, bottom left corner, position it here, right in the center. Okay, and like that. Okay, and let's call this txt health. Okay, and I'll right click and I'll copy, and I'll go back to my canvas panel, right click and paste, right? And if I click there, it's anchored again there. Let's bring it up here, and let's give it the same X position, that is 100 by minus. Okay, and let's give it the same Y. This is 992. Okay, is this, oh, it needs to be there. This also needs to be anchored to the bottom left, right? And now it's 70 and minus 140 and 70 and minus 89. So let's do the same thing, 100 and minus 89, right? And this would be 100, and this is minus 140, and let's bring it down to the same level, minus 140. Let's also rename this guy to txt armor. There you go. And let's change the values of the content to 100 each. 100, and this will be 100, right? And let's also change the justification to center, and let's set justification to center, and let's also bring them both to the right, like that. Okay, and if I look at the values, X values, that would be 132 and 132, and let's do the same thing to these guys, right? So that would be the health and the armor, and that's not looking bad at all. Maybe I should be bringing them down even further to the center, like that. Now there's going to be another image that will be coming in that will cover as a border for each of these guys. So I'm going to have to add another image and drop it here, like that. And I'll call this border underscore armor. Okay, and this will be border armor border. There you go, right? And if I size it to content, and that should be that, and I'll just put it here somewhere like this. And if I look at it, and pretty decent, right? And 196 by 948, of course I have to anchor it to the left. Now again, I'll have to bring in another image, drop it here. This will be called border underscore health. Okay, and the image or the brush image would be health border. We already have that. Now again, size it to content, and this is 196, and also anchor it to the bottom left. This is 196, so let's also say 196. Okay, and let's bring it down like that. That is 196 minus 80 and 196 and minus 133, so minus 135 minus 135 minus 140, that's going up, so minus 130 minus 132 minus 131. Yep, that's about right. So that's about the same level. Now if I want, I can further bring these guys, because it's never going to go beyond 100, so I can just move it to the right a little bit. And if this is 152, then this should also be 152. Okay, and now these guys can be pushed again to the right like that. Right, so looking decent. All right, now of course the text has to be changed later on, but it works. All right, compile, and when I hit play, there I can see that it's actually looking pretty decent. Maybe I might want to move the entire section towards the left, so let's select them all. Let's select the health bar, the armor bar, the text health icon, this, all of these guys. Okay, and move them. Okay, I have to select them individually like that. Control select, and without actually moving the anchor point, I'll just do that. And I hit play. Maybe if I come here and if I hit play, not bad at all. It's quite tiny, but we'll fix that later on. Okay, and just hit compile, save. Let's see, pretty cool. The anchors, I just want to check the anchors. They all anchored to the left. Okay, anchored, all right, anchored to the left, anchored to the left, anchored to the left. Perfect. Okay, so I think we have the armor should come down here. This will be position is 100 and minus 131, and so let's fix this. 100 and minus 131, 100 and minus 131. Okay, and for the armor, this will be 100 and minus 80. Okay, right, and of course that's there and pretty decent. This is 291 by 6, and if I click play, all right, great. So now it's right on left corner, and if I go there, and you can see that the armor is also depleting and everything is fine. That's great. Now all I have to do now is to fix the ammo and the max ammo thing. So the first thing is I need to have some icons by the ammo and the max ammo, which will be grenade launchers, the amount of grenades that you have and all of that. So let's set that up first. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is inside the ammo section, I think I'll get rid of, this is an overlay, I guess. Yeah, this is an overlay. So I don't need the ammo, this one, I don't need it at all. So I can just get rid of this. I can also get rid of max ammo because I'm not going to need that. Now this is ammo and this is going to be the max ammo. So I'll just give it a different color so that I'll know. No, not right now. So I'll just have a mental note. I know max ammo is, or the ammo I have is, let's say 0. Okay, 0 is ammo I have and 999 is a max ammo. Okay, so I just bring it out. I'll just bring these guys out of the ammo section itself. So what if I delete it? Oh, everything goes away. Right, so back here and ammo section, text ammo. So I'm just going to bring them out. Okay, like that, and bring them out like that. All right, and I can delete the overlay. And if I click on this, and this will be, where is it? It went out there. All right, so I'll just say bottom right. Okay, and do the same thing for bottom right out here as well. Now let's first figure out where it's starting from. It's starting from, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th grid. So I'll have to roughly arrange it in that way. So I'll bring in my max ammo here. Okay. And let me also see if I can rearrange it. So, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I can bring that same thing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Right. Like that. 5. And then I'll have to bring in this guy and move him down here. Closer, move in closer. Just drag him. That's faster. Just put him out here like that. So there'll be, I'll just say size to content, and this will also be size to content. Okay. Now there will be a slash which will say number of ammo you have, amount of ammo you have, divided by, not divided by, but a number of ammo you have for the maximum ammo that you have. Okay, for the maximum ammo that you can have. And also I'm going to have some grenade icons here, and for that I'm going to have some text block. This is going to be bottom right. Okay, and I'll size the content and I'll just call this 2x. So that means that 2x amount of grenades and so on. And this will be label grenade type 1. Okay, and then I'll just right click and I'll copy. I'll right click and I'll paste. And I don't know where it went. Don't know where it went. There it is. If I can bring it. This is, oh, that's weird. I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. Okay, and click it and then bring it all the way. I'll just anchor it to the top right and I'll zero them out so that I can bring it here. Now I can move him closer like that. Okay, and just put him here, and let's see, the X is minus 545. So we'll do the same thing, minus 545, and I think the height is fine. Okay, and maybe I have to bring them a little more closer, and so I'll just move him down like that. But for now I'll just keep it like that, and I'll say label grenade underscore 2. Okay, so now we're gonna need the icons itself. I'm gonna bring the image, drag it here, and anchor it to the bottom right. Bring another image, drag it here, and again bottom right. Okay, first image will be called ICO grenade underscore 1, and the second one would be ICO grenade underscore 2, right? And so for this, the image would, I keep on clicking on that. Okay, the image would be ICO underscore grenade underscore 1 and size to content. So that's that. And then for the brush here, it'll be ICO underscore grenade underscore 2 and size to content. Now all we have to do is position them. Okay, and let's see. First I'll be bringing him closer to here like this, and this guy I'll move him a little towards the right and move him like this, like that. Okay, and he is 24 and this is also 24, so I think I can bring him down to 20. This is also 20. Okay, and move him closer and move him also closer. Okay, if I look at it, maybe like that. Okay, that's okay. Now maybe if I should be pushing them towards the right even more, so label 1. Okay, select this, select this, select this, and just move them to the right. And if I look at it from here, I think that's about fine. I'll just move them a little bit down, down, and down. Yep. Okay, and just move this guy align with him like that. Okay, that's about good. Right, I'll just hit play. Let's see what it looks like. Not bad at all. And that's the grenade icon, and then maybe this has to be a little towards the left. So let's see. And also I just want this text to be not bold. In fact, I want it to be light. Okay, and so that it looks good. And also these guys, I also want it to be, I want this guy to be 21. Okay, and I want him to come down like that. I think that should be it. Yep. Okay, and this guy is fine the way he is. This guy, I'll just make him light, and I'll also make him light. Okay, like that. So let's see if this works. If I hit compile and I hit play, and it's right in the corner, and of course I can, there you go, and it also works. If I reload, that also works, and it looks pretty good, right? So I may or may not move them all to the right. So if I want to, I can, but let's say if it's all the txt health, okay, not the txt health, but rather the border armor, it all starts from here all the way down here, and then this and this, I'll just move them little to the right. That's about good. Okay, that's about good. All right, I'll just compile that, save it, and I hit play. That's looking pretty good. Now maybe I'll just move this little to the left. Okay, and then I'll have one more text block right in the center, and all this will do is this will just say / size to content, again anchored to the bottom right, and just put it here like this. Okay, and maybe I'll increase the size to 30, or and I'll make this not bold, rather light. Okay, and I don't know what this will look like, but I think this will be looking good. I'll just have to bring it down, and let's see. It's hard to understand what it looks like in the game. I hit play. I think I just have to take this to the right a little bit, or this text to the this guy, and this should need to be coming here like that. Compile, play. Okay, maybe this will be towards the right furthermore. Compile, play. All right, I think I'm okay with that. All right, and maybe I just need to increase the size to 40, and there you go. Compile and play. Okay, now I can further move it to the left, up, and compile, play, further up, compile and play. All right, great. So I think I'm happy with that. Of course, we're going to change the text a little bit, and also 25 needs to come a little bit down and left. Okay, and perfect. All right, and 100 is fine the way it is. 25 is also looking good, and if I fire, I reload, even that's changing, nothing, no issues there. And also if I go in there and it's going to take off my armor, that's also working. So perfect. Now all I need to do now before we end this video is we have to you have these texts, right? So you have to hook these up to the percentages. So instead of binding it, maybe we can say is variable. So we can select them as is variable. So that will be text health and text armor is health, and this is text armor and text health. So if I go back to my the armor bar and the health bar both, and if I look at my binding, it says get health bar percentage. If I go to the function, so this returns the value out here. Now as player, you can do all of this and it returns the node. In fact, what we'll have to do is, before we do any of this, let's also, before we return, let's say, let's bring in this is for the health bar, right? So let's bring in the txt health, set txt health, okay, like this, and connect it to this, and this will be multiplied by float, and this will be 100, and connect it here. Okay, so this from float, this will be to text. So if I say to text, and then let's move it to the right. Now if I connect this, it still won't. This is, oh, okay, let's see. Instead of this, let's actually get the health, and then say set text, okay, and now this should work like that. Connect this here and bring this in here, and now just connect that to the in text. That should work. Okay, and then also add a reroute node like this, just to make it look good. And we do the same thing for the armor. Now this is another way it might work. Let's try it out. And the most straightforward way is to actually have another binding like we did for the health bar and the armor bar. Okay, but instead of creating a binding, what we're doing is we change the text variable, the txt health as a variable. We converted that to a variable, and then we simply set the text as we are also setting the percentage at the same time. So we can do the same thing for designer. Go back to the designer, and if you click on this will be the armor bar. Again, if you go down, and you can see that you have the armor bar %. You do the same thing, exact same thing. Move this, not this, but rather this guy, the return node, to the right. Okay, and let's bring him to the left like this, and this will be, let's bring in, what is this, armor? Yeah, so bring in the text armor, drop it here and say get text armor, then say set text like that. Connect this to this, then connect this to this, and just bring this guy closer, and maybe move him a little further away, and like that, because I'm going to need to have to first multiply that with 100, because this is all in percentage. So multiplying that with 100 is going to give us the real value. Now this will be, if I can directly do that, and it's going to convert it to the text, and this should also work as intended. Now again, bring it down here and do that. Okay, and compile that, come back here, and let's play. Okay, so now that's 100. If I go down here, and this is 90, 85, so now you can see that thing is working, right? So, and again, it's also, as it's increasing, you can see that it's increasing to 78, 79, 80, and so on, and it's also looking good. Now, one thing, maybe if I go back to my HUD, if I go back to my designer, maybe I should just move this towards the right, or I'll just say, yeah, this is justified as center. I'll just move them both to the right a little bit. And if I'm saying minus 60, and this should also be 60. There you go. Compile that, play, and if I go in here, and you can see that it's working. Perfect. Everything is working fine. So that's an editor getting some error. We'll fix that later. But it's actually shaping up to look like a fine game. Again, 25 by 100 fire, and it's not bad at all. So you got the 17 by 100 now, And if I go over to my paint volume, and you can see that the armor has decreased and it's also increasing now. And also if I move in, the objective is going to be there. So point beta, then it says point move to point Charlie, and now it says all objectives cleared. It did come up and it just stayed for a couple of seconds and left as we expected. So fine, so everything is looking great, and we'll take care of this. We'll take care of this error message later on, and it's all about take damage and all that inside the paint volume, so it's got something to do with it. So let's end this video now, and when we come back, we're gonna add some more. We'll beautify beautify the UI for the game even better. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Welcome back. So in the previous video, we brought in new assets in a bid to make a complete overhaul for HUD. So right now it looks like this. It looks a little better than before. So we have these borders around the top left and the top right corner, and we have better looking armor bars and health bars, and also the ammo counts and everything else. It's also looking fine towards the bottom right corner. The next thing we have to do is we have to have a kill feed out here, out in the top right corner. A kill feed meaning if you ever played a game like any multiplayer game, for instance, Counter-Strike or Battlefield, so you always get notifications like a pop-up. Like if you kill someone, then it says that okay, you killed this guy, and if the player kills you, then you get a notification. So whatever happens in the game with regards to people shooting each other and getting rid of the rivals, there is always a notification that's sent across to all the clients. Okay, so in this case, since this is a single player game, but I'll still show you how to make a kill feed. It's called a kill feed, or it's called a notification. It's called a notification center, which always stays there. So every time you kill someone, it will say you killed whatever the name of the player is, or whatever the name of the enemy is. Okay, so let's get on to that. And we have imported all the assets that's required for this already. So we will be using kill feed BG, and we have also the kill feed border. So but before we actually go on and do that, we won't be using it inside the HUD because that's going to be a separate asset. So what we're going to do instead is we'll be creating a new widget blueprint, and I'll call this kill feed, and that's it. I'll open that up, and the first thing I'm going to need is I'm going to need an image. I drop an image there, anchor it first, lest I forget, top right corner, and then I'll bring in the image, and that image is going to be called kill feed BG. Okay, and of course the kill feed BG is 194 by 28. So I'm going to say size to content so that it sizes to content appropriately. All right, and I'll just position it the way I like, or with the way I want, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to need some text boxes, two text blocks, not text boxes, but text blocks, two text blocks. So one would be saying you killed or player killed, and the second would be the name of the enemy that you killed, right? So the first one is going to be, I'm going to call this killed, and also they will have different, no, they'll have different font sizes and font colors, so which we'll set up later. But first I'll just set up the content that's going to be there inside the text block. So this one is going to be called killed. Okay, so actually instead of killed, I'm going to say you killed because you have killed him. So you killed, and there you go. And this does not need to be so big, so I'm going to bring the font size down to somewhere like 11, right? And also the font typeface can be light, right? And I'll just place that over here. I hope the anchor is okay. I'll first anchor it off to the top right, and then I'll first place it here like that, and I'll place it the way I like, and maybe I'll just bring it down a bit. Or this is minus 261, so if I say minus 260, okay, that's okay. And position 68, so let's say 70. All right, that's fine. And that would be you killed. And then next would be, let's say I'm going to give it a default of enemy enemy 1. Okay, why not? So enemy 1, and I'll treat it the same way. First I'll make the typeface to light, and then I'll give it a size of 12. Okay, then I'll say size to content, and then I'll again move it to exactly this position Y, and of course the position X is going to change, and the anchors will first change to top right. You killed is minus 260, no, 70 on the Y, so I'll bring it down to 70. Okay, so that's in the same level, and then I'll just move it towards the, let's say if I just move it towards the right like that. Okay, you killed enemy 1. Okay, and of course this will be, let's say this can be 70. Okay, 70 is good. I think 70 is fine, and maybe I'll just increase the size to a little bit more, like 14, and maybe further push it up like that, and bring it in the center here. That's good. And this would be 194 by 28, so that's already sized to content. And I'll just change the font color. I'll make this to somewhere like light red, just to indicate that it's an enemy player that you killed. And this can be you killed enemy 1, right? Now also we're not exactly sure about the position, because this has to be around the border. So if you go back to HUD, I'm going to place the HUD right next to kill feed so that I can quickly go back and forth like this. So I'll go to HUD, and what I'll do is I'll just pick up this. I'll copy this image. I'll come here, and then I'll click here and I'll paste it. Okay, and I don't know if that's there. Oh, there it is. Okay, it got pasted there anyways, but I'll position it the way I want it to, and then I'll copy the position and paste it back there. Okay, so this is how I want it. I think that's okay. So if I just quickly play the game, and I should be able to see that, and I think that's good enough. Yes, that's good enough. So it's also anchored to the top right, right? It's also anchored to the top right, and it's minus 236 and 44. Okay, so I'll come back to kill feed, and I'll give it the same position. So minus 236 and minus 236 and 44 is the position, and accordingly we'll have to change these text as well. So again, I'll bring it up here, move it here, you killed, and then enemy again. I think this should be going up a little bit, so 50 is good. 50 is good, and again 50 for enemy 1 text, 50, and maybe higher, 52, no, 48, 48. If I can scroll and zoom in a little bit more, I think that's fine, right? So this is 48, and if I just move it to the right like that, there you go. Okay, and I'll just justify it to the center, and I'll do the same thing, justify it to the center. I'll also make sure that it's sized to content and everything else is great. All right, I'm happy with the color, I'm happy with the position, and if I look here and if I position it here, it should be around the same place. That's awesome. Okay, or you could have also brought this guy in and pushed it in here. Means about the same thing, but I'm gonna get rid of this image from this, and then I'll come back here and I'll rename these images. So I'll say kill feed pop-up, because that's actually a pop-up, and then this will be label you killed. That's never going to change. What's going to change is this, depending on the name of the enemy itself. So this will be txt enemy name. There you go, as simple as that. Compile it, save it. Of course you're not going to see anything right now, because this is not this has not been instructed to be shown in the viewport, but we'll do that later on. But I just wanted to set all of these things first. So this thing is set. I think something is not right. Maybe, no, I think it's fine. All right. Okay, so now that we have this, the next step is for us to animate. So the way this is going to happen is, once you kill an enemy, this whole thing, this whole package, the background as well as you killed and the whatever the name of the enemy is, that'll be filled in dynamically, will animate, and it'll just show you a notification. It's just like a notification on your phone. It just shows up and then it goes away after a while, or unless you have to discard it by swiping it off or some whatever. So this is just gonna show up and tell you that you know you have killed this guy, and then it'll just go fade away. But okay, so for that to happen, you'll have to the way we're going to animate is we're going to start off with an opacity of 0, and then we'll animate it to 1, then stay there for a while, and then animate them back to 0. Okay, so for that to happen, the starting opacity, the initial opacity for all these elements have to be 0. So I'm going to have a 0 for this opacity for the kill feed pop-up, and again the same for the you killed label. That would be 0 for color and opacity. Alpha would be 0, and again out here this alpha would be 0 as well. Okay, and okay, like that. So all of these guys will just over time they'll lerp to 1 from 0 over time, and then lerp back to the original value for opacity. That's an animation. Okay, so now let's create the animation. So out here you see the animations at the bottom. If you don't see it, you can go over to window, and you can bring in the animations tab. Okay, it's already checked in by default. When you're creating a new widget, when you open that new widget in its new editor, in its own UMG editor, you will normally see the animations, the timeline, and the compiler results also at times. But this will be there, and if you want, you can close it down and can again bring it over, and by going to window and animations. Right, so inside animations, let's click on the plus animation, and let's give this animation a name, and I'll call this anim underscore kill feed pop-up. Okay, why not? Okay, and once we have that, we have to select the track. Now the track is going to be selected from all the different elements that you want to pick up and animate. So when you click on this, it's going to be all named widgets. Okay, and so these are all the widgets that you have. This is the canvas panel itself, and this is going to be the kill feed pop-up. This is the canvas panel slot. Then you have the label you killed. So you have to make sure that you bring in the kill feed pop-up and not the canvas panel slot. Okay, so I'll just bring in the kill feed pop-up there, and then I'll add more subtracks to that particular element. And when I click on plus, and it's asking, these are all the things that I can animate by default. Okay, and first thing is I'm going to be bringing in the color and opacity, because I need to lerp the opacity from 0 to 1, and also I need to transform it by arranging its position. So we'll also do that. So we have two subtracks inside the kill feed pop-up that we'll be animating. So or the properties of the kill feed pop-up, color and opacity, and the transform. Okay, so now that we have these tracks, now we have to decide how many seconds do we want to show this animation or this notification. And the way we want to do it is we want to start off with this guy with the kill feed pop-up. Over a period of time, we want him to show up with full opacity, and then again over a period of time we want him to fade out and then also move away. So while he's moving away, it's also fading out. Okay, so let's decide how do we want to do it. So let's decide on a value. Let's say 3 seconds. Okay, we want this whole thing to be happening within 3 seconds. Kill feed pop-up to be fading in and then fading out, and at the same time moving down. So the whole thing is going to happen over 3 seconds. So let's say over 1.5 seconds or half a second, I want to bring in the color and opacity to 1. Okay, so now this is going to be shown here, right? So now you can see that when I hit play, you can see that over half a second it's going to be shown. Okay, but we're not going to stop there. In fact, we want to go all the way over to 3 seconds, right? So then again, I will drag this to 3 seconds like that, and then again I'll bring the opacity to 0. Okay, so that'll be like that. Okay, so now if I hit play, you can see that it's fading in and then slowly fading out over 3 seconds. The fade in is quick because we want to show him and we want to give him ample time for him to look at the notification and read what's in there and then fade out. While at the same time, while he is in here, while between 0.5 and 3 seconds, I also want to add a transform key as well. So I'm going to click on this. Okay, I want to click on the transform key, and then when I get here, I want to click on the translation key, and I want to move the Y down here like that. Okay, so if I do that, I think like this, maybe if I can bring him down like that, I don't know. So let's see. Oh, okay. It's translation. Okay, I think I got the wrong one. Anyway, so if this is for the translation. So if I can select, okay, I'll just scroll down. I'll select these guys. I'll hit delete. Okay, and I'll also select this and I'll hit delete. So all I have now is the translation, and I'll just click on this and hit delete as well. So now if I hit play, all I have is the fade in and fade out effect, which is fine. So I'll do it again. So once I come in here, it fades in and fades out. That's fine. Now at this point, and when I reach here, I want this translation to move down like that, like this. Okay, so we'll move over, let's say 120. Okay, and now if I hit play, okay, all right, think that's not the case. So I think I'll just delete that, and so let's try again. Okay, so that's fading off. That's good. So I'll add a key for translation here, right? And then out here I'll bring him down like that, and I'll say 120, right? And then again I'll click on this to get these keys in. Now if I hit play, now I can see that he slowly fades off as he moves down. Okay, so which is actually looking kind of good. So we'll do the same thing, and we'll also have to carry these two labels or these two text blocks as it's fading in and fading out. So both of these elements also have to have the same kind of effect because it's also a part of the kill feed pop-up. So again, when I play that, and it's fading out and it's looking pretty nice. Okay, so let's test it again, and it goes down and fades off and moves nicely. Right, all good. I'm going to close that, and compile it just in case, and also save it. Now go all the way back here, and now we have to add a new track. Okay, and now the next track is going to be we're going to need the label you killed, right? So the label you killed is going to be treated the same way. And first we need to add a track for color and opacity, and then we're going to need to add a color and track for transform, right? So for the color and opacity, it's going to be the same thing. At 0.5 seconds, the opacity of the text is going to be 1. Okay, and at 3 seconds again, the opacity is going to be 0. Okay, so when I play that, and you can see that it's actually happening that way. Okay, so opacity, this is 0, this is 1 for opacity. And did I add the transform? Yeah, nope. And this is 0. Oh, this is directly going to 0, and this is also that. Okay, so now if you look at it, now it's fading off nicely. Okay, so 0.5 after you add the keyframe, and then it's slowly fading off to 0. Now the only thing remaining to be done is adding the transform with adding a transform keyframe as well. Now of course, when you go down, you just collapse this, bring in transform, go to translation, and then first click on this so that it gets the keyframes for translation. And then when it comes down to here, I want this guy to move along with him. So the easiest way to get that is go over to the color and opacity and click on this color and opacity and click on that point and look at the translation. It's at this point. Okay, I think I should be going over to kill feed pop-up, not that. So if we go to transform, it's 120, right? At the end of the third second, the Y of the kill feed pop-up is 120. So we will get the same value. I'll just copy that just in case, and I'll collapse this, reopen this, go over to the transform Y, and then out here, so he already has a keyframe there. And at this point, I'll set the keyframe first, okay, and then I'll give it a value of 120. Okay, there you go. All right, so there you go, and now it should move along with it. Now there you go, and oh, it's moving faster than that. That's because this is 0 and this is okay. All right, it's 8.89. Okay. All right. I think it should be further down. Let's see. Okay, so the problem being, out here we are making him move from 0 to 120. I'm talking about the kill feed pop-up. Okay, this one, the block. So we are actually starting to make him move from at this point after he fades in, and from there we are making him move to 120. But in our case, what we're doing is we are making him move from right at the first point. So instead, what we'll do is we'll go over to the translation and click on this. Let's say this is 0. That's okay, and I'll just get rid of this. I'll get rid of all of this, and I'll also get rid of this. Okay, and I'll just see what happens here. So out here, this is 0. Okay, and I'll also get rid of this. I don't need that right now. And then if I hit play, okay, and let's see, I'll just say 0. Okay, and first I'll get rid of this, and I'll also get rid of shear. I don't know what that is. And if I hit play now, you can see that it actually does now. Okay, so what we have to do is if I scroll up a little bit and I go all the way up to this point, so we will set up I will set up our keyframes out here. So I'll just set up a keyframe for Y alone. So I'll just click on this, right? And then at point 3, at 3 seconds, I'll say 120. So at this point, it should move along with this guy, right? So now when I hit play, you can see that he moves with the block, okay? And it's looking pretty nice. That's pretty cool. Actually, it's looking pretty cool. So every time you kill a person, that thing is going to show up, and it's going to give you enough time to understand who you killed, and then it's just going to fade away, and that's it. So we'll do the same thing for the other text. So we have label you killed and kill field pop-up. We have to bring in a new track, and this will be txt enemy name. Okay, and txt enemy name will also have color and opacity track. Okay, and so first is let's bring in the color and opacity track. There you go. I don't know if you killed, and that goes away. Okay, what is that? Okay, so for color and opacity track, again at 0.5 seconds, it's gonna bring in an opacity of 0.5. No, 1. Okay, and then again at the third second, it's gonna go down to 0, like that, right? Now when I hit play again, and you can see that he goes and he comes in, he fades. Okay, and I think I should also have this. Okay, so now when I hit play, okay, I don't know if he's really fading. That is there, and he comes in like that. So okay, that's fine. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to go down and add a new track. That will be a transform track. Again, go down here and go to translation and click on this. And then at this point, I'm going to shoot this up to 120 and hit enter so that it adds a keyframe there. Right, so now when I hit play, there you go, and they all move together, and there you go. Right, that's pretty cool. Okay, so we have the animation in place. So you have all of these guys sliding in, fading out, fading in, and all of that good stuff. Okay, so I'll just save that, and we are done with the animation. So next we'll hop into the graph, and we already have the name of the animation here. It says anim kill feed pop up. And what we have to do is I'll get rid of all of these bubbles. I don't need the bubbles. Okay, so the moment this widget is constructed, I want this animation to be played because that's the only job of this widget. So I'm just going to say play animation. Okay, and the animation is going to be this animation. So I'm going to drag and drop it here, and everything else is going to stay the same. I just want it the start time to be 0, the playback speed to be normal, and the number of loops I just want it to play once, and the play mode is going to be forward. So it's just going to play from the fade in to fade out. If you say reverse, then it's gonna play in reverse. It's gonna fade out and then it's gonna fade in and then it's gonna fade out again. But it's gonna play the whole animation in reverse. That's it. Okay, but we want to play it forward. That's it. And we just want to play it once. Okay, so compile that, save that. So the moment this event or this widget is born in the viewport or is shown to the viewport, it automatically will play the animation, do its stuff, fade in and move, fade out, and disappear. That's it. And it'll just play it once, exactly what we want. Okay, so now our next step is going to be having to play that animation or call that widget when we are killing a player. When this guy dies, I want this to come up here somewhere. I want the widget to be placed where it's meant to be placed. Okay, and that's quite easy. We just have to go over to the blueprints. No, if I go over to assets, blueprints, AI, and if I go over to the enemy AI, and if I look at everything that I have here so far, and on action, event actor, begin overlap, I'm casting it to projectile, and then I'm saying hit, and then it's going all the way and it's doing all of these calculations. It's setting the health. It's setting the health after subtracting it, after deducting some health from it, and then it's again checking whether the health is less than 0, and if it is so, then it's destroying the actor. Okay, so at this point we want to say create widget. So we want to show that animation, or we want to bring up that kill feed pop up now, and this will be the kill feed, like that. And then we simply want to add it to the viewport, like that. It's as simple as that. And also I think I don't need this anymore, so I think I'll just get rid of not this. I'll just get rid of this print string and reconnect this back here, and maybe bring them all to the left so that I can, like that. Okay, fine. I'll check that out later. Compile it, save it, and now let's try and get this guy. There you go, and you can see that you killed enemy 1. Okay, and it's always going to be enemy 1 because we're not actually getting the name of the enemy. There you go, and you killed enemy 1 again, which came up to the right, which is pretty cool. Okay, and also the anchorings and also worked, and it shows us exactly where it's meant to be shown, and everything is looking pretty good. Again, I'll try it again. I'll play and shoot. There you go, you killed enemy 1, you killed enemy 1 again, so it came up twice, it animated it nicely. So that's about the kill feed, and of course we have to further fix it by actually getting the name of the player himself. Maybe we can, let's say this is enemy 1 and enemy 2, right? So out here, if I go over to enemy underscore 1, let's see, add to the viewport. What we can do here, you know what, this is good for now. When we return in the next video, we'll try and fix that so that we can get the name of the real player itself onto that kill feed. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Welcome back. So in the previous video, we added the kill feed over to the top right corner, and we also saw that thing working, but it wasn't perfect in a way. It wasn't perfect in a way that it's looking fine, but the text has to be changed to whatever the name of the player you killed is. So for now, this guy is enemy 1, and for now, this guy is also he's called enemy 2, but you kill him and it still says enemy 1. It still reads as you killed enemy 1. So we got to change that, and that's where we stopped in the previous video. So the first thing to be done is, you go over to the kill feed, and you know that from this UI widget, you want to change this. This is the txt enemy name that you have to get access to, and you have to change to whatever the name of the enemy is. Now, there are multiple ways of getting this done, but the easiest way to do this would be to add a variable here, which includes the name of this player, wherein when you add him in the level, he's going to get a name. Okay, the designer has to manually enter the name inside the level. So let's do that. That's the easiest way, and because we just have a bunch of players, so it's not very difficult to give individual names to the players. So I'm going to add a new variable, and I'm going to call this I don't know, character name. Okay, and instead of string, I'll make this a text. Okay, and I'll just compile it, and I'll expose it so that it can be changed inside the level during compile time. So enemy 1 can be given a name. Let me call him, let's say, I don't know, Shiva. And this guy can be called John. Okay, so you have John on the left and Shiva on the right. It's as simple as that. Now, going back to enemy 1, you can either choose to save this or promote this as a variable, or you can simply use this straight away from here and not having to promote this as a variable. So you can simply say, you can directly get the txt okay, that's the kill feed. Oh, okay, yeah, you have to go back to the kill feed and you have to make this a variable. Okay, otherwise you won't be able to access it. Now this is a variable, I suppose, so you can access the kill feed pop-up. This is not a variable, but this we have to make it a variable, and you killed is always going to be constant, so we don't need to change that, and we don't need to access that either. This has to be accessed, so I have promoted this to a variable. Compile that, save that, go back to enemy 1, and now if you look for txt enemy name, so you can either set it or you can get it. So I'll get it first. I'll get it, and then I'll directly say set it up, set text. Okay, I'll just set text here, and then I'll just connect this out here, and now the in text would be simply our character name, like that, just like that. It's as simple as that. Okay, and now this can just stay here like this, just so that there are no overlapping of wires, and they all straightened out nice and clean. Now when I hit compile, save, and let me go back and play the game. Okay, when I hit play and I get this guy down, and just keep an eye on, or let me take this guy down first. He's too close. I'll play again. Play, and I'll just shoot him. You can see I kill Shiva. Okay, and I can, now this guy is John, so I'll kill John. I'll reload. I'll have to reload. Okay, and then I'll just kill, I kill John. Okay, so you kill John. So that thing works. Very simple, but and it's also looks good. It's just a nice touch to it. It's not really required. You can simply change this enemy out here. You can simply change the text for the txt enemy as enemy bot and done with it, because they're all going to be bots. But I just wanted to show you how to get this little thing done. Why not? Just like that. Okay, so now that we have the kill feed done, the next thing to be working on is going to be the mini map, which will show up in the top left corner. We'll get on to that in the next video. Thank you. Welcome back. So now comes the time for us to add the mini map onto the HUD. So a mini map is going to be sitting at the top left corner out here, and we also have to move these guys down. So the first thing is the minimap is going to be coming here, like below this border out here as a square, and then there's going to be an arrow inside, which will indicate the direction of the player's movement. Okay, so first is I'm gonna have to move these guys down. Let me move this guy out here like this, and I'll place him here. And then this guy, the objectives, I'll just place him out here. All right, so that would be objectives. So I think that is 516 is the X, and uh, this is position X is okay. 516, I think, size X and size Y. Okay, no set order, and this is anchored to the top left, and this should also be anchored to the top left, and I think that's okay. There you go. Right. Okay, great. So now once we have that in place, maybe I'll just move this guy, both of them, further down a little bit so that I can accommodate the mini map. Now I might just have to move him a little bit up like this. Okay, and objectives can be, no, this should not cross over like that, and there you go, that's perfect. Now objectives can also be, I look at the font, it can also be light, and I don't know if they have underline. No, they don't have underline. They have italic, bold, italic, and all that, but the size or the color can change to something like green. Okay, right? So objectives move to objective A, and this, if it is aligning with these guys, no issues. If I want to, then I can probably move them even back, further back, like that, and make them aligned from here, make them start from here, like that. So this is aligned with this, the health and armor bar, and this is got to be aligned with this, the kill feed. So the mini map is going to sit here. So the first thing is I'm going to bring in an image and drop it here. Okay, so I'm going to first create the simple, I'm going to create the design, or the create the graphics for the mini map, and then after that I'm going to explain how to get it done. Okay, so let us make this a square. So let us make this 250 by 250. Okay, and maybe both of these guys need to come further down. Okay, and I think that's okay. I think it's a good idea to move them from where this is going to start from. Okay, from where the mini map is going to start from, like that. Okay, and similarly, all of these guys, just one. I'm going to take off the snapping, and then I'll just move them to the left a bit. Great. Now select these guys, all of them, along with the border, along with this border, and move them a little bit to the right until they align with the objective text. Okay, I think that's about right. One more left. Yes, perfect. So I'm not gonna mingle with that anymore. Now this is gonna be called, let's call this minimap. Okay, and then you're gonna need one more, which will actually be the arrow. So if you look at the content browser, and if you look at the sprites and images, everything that we brought in, this is the minimap arrow. If you double click on that, you'll see a little arrow once it loads up. So this arrow that's going to be placed on the map. So this arrow is going to rotate itself along the y-axis alone, to just indicate where you're moving. As simple as that. It's just going to be like any other minimap. And the next one is going to be the border of the minimap itself. That's okay, and we already have that. Okay, so all we need is now this arrow, and this arrow always has to be on top of the sky. So let's see, this has to be at a Z order of 1, because it always has to be on top of the sky. Now just to check that it works, this has a Z order of 0, and this has a Z order of 1. Now just to check that it works, I'm going to give it I'm going to give it a tint. I'm going to give it something like a green tint. Okay, and then I'll probably make it an alpha of 0.5, and then I'll just drag him over here so that I can know that, okay, that guy is here. He's perfect. He's sitting right where he needs to be sitting. Okay, and this is the arrow, while this is the minimap, and it's also anchored to the top left corner. Also make sure that this is also anchored to the top left corner, and that is going to change anyways. Now the way we're going to make this minimap work is, this is going to be sort of like a live feed coming in from the top of the player, where we'll be attaching a camera, and that feed will be projected onto a texture. Okay, and so this has to be done through the blueprint, and I'll explain it how. And let's see. So let's also rename this to arrow. Okay, I don't know, direction arrow. Okay, compile that and save that. Now let's go back to our player. Okay, and let's first take a look at what it looks like. So right now, to me, it looks fine. Okay, I'm able to see the minimap, and I'm also able to see the arrow. So I'm happy with what it looks like. Now I just have to make some changes over to my player here. So right now, this is what the player blueprint looks like. It has the capsule, the character mesh, the arrow to indicate where he's pointing at, and then a main camera, and then also the camera boom, which is a spring arm, which you're not really using, but let it be there for just because it's been there forever. So now inside the capsule component, I'm going to be adding another camera. Okay, another camera, and he'll sit right there. Now I'll name this camera as minimap camera. Minimap camera, and this camera will be somewhere up here. It's going to be giving us the live feeds of the player's movements from up here. And then, of course, I have to rotate it along the y-axis by 90 degrees, like that. Did I rotate it the wrong way? Yeah, actually it's minus 90 degrees. And now they can see that it is directly above the player, and it should give us all the live feeds that we're looking for. Maybe move him a little bit up. So let's make it 600 even. Okay, and that should be fine. And what we're going to be using now is we're going to be using something called, let's call this, if I scroll down, you can see under rendering, you can see scene capture component 2D and scene capture component cube. So what this is going to do is this is going to be bringing in, this is going to be getting the live feeds from wherever it's coming in from, and it's going to render onto a texture, right? So almost think of this as let's say you want to make a television inside your level, and you want to have some live videos playing in it. So you can use this. This can be coming in from anywhere, more of like a media texture, but this is actually capturing the scene itself during real time and projecting it onto a texture. So this is the most commonly used method for creating a minimap, and it's done quite well. Now you may or may not want to change the name of this. I'll just call this scene capture component. Why not? And now if you scroll down, it's going to look for a texture target. Now we don't have a texture target, and we have to create that now. Okay, so now you can either click here and you can say, create a new asset, a render target. So let's do that. Instead of going back to the content browser, we can create one right now. So I can just call this, I can click on the create new asset render target, and then give it the location that I want to save it in. Now I want to save it inside sprites and images because it will be consistent with the stuff that we're working on, because all the minimap assets, including your widget, is also here inside the HUD. So I'll just put it inside sprites and images. And yeah, so I'm just going to call this minimap underscore, I don't know, render target or texture. Yeah, minimap. Or I'll just say tx underscore minimap. Okay, so that should take care of that. So once we do that, it's automatically going to assign that to the minimap. Once I compile that and go back here, and you can see that it's actually there. It's this is a different thing right now. So if I move around, let's say I just play and I'm just moving around and I hit escape. Now it's not going to show that right now, but it's actually the moment you created it, it started updating it. Even though inside your player, when you created it here, it's still showing as black because the player is black and you're not able to see anything. But if you double click on this, you can see something. It's not very clear, but anyways, it's gonna work, trust me. So I'm gonna save this, and now what we're gonna need to do is convert this to a material, or use this in a material so that it can be rendered inside the HUD or in this minimap out here. Okay, so now the next thing we have to do is create a material, as I said. So let's go back to assets, and inside materials, and this is for the character. Now I can create a new folder, and I can call this generic materials. It's not related to the character or the weapons, so this is going to be generic or gameplay stuff. So I'm going to right click, create a new material, and I'll call this mat_minimap. Okay, so once we open that up, this is going to be the normal material editor that we have known since so long. But in order for you to make this usable inside a HUD, right now, this is going to be a material that can only be used on meshes, okay, not on sprites or images. So you have to change the material domain. So just keep an eye on the final attributes or all the attributes of this material. And when I change this from surface to user interface, it's going to throw away all the things that it does not require for a UI material. All it needs is the final color and the screen position. That's all it needs. Now for the final color, it's we'll have to send it, give it a texture or something that is from a sprite or an image, right? So now, of course, I can say texture sample, and it brings in the texture sample. So let's connect that first. Now the texture sample out here is going to be, if I click on here and if I look at tex_minimap, so if I select that, and there you can see that the minimap is out there, and we have the top view of the player himself. Okay, save that. Now when I go back to my HUD, I hope I have my material selected. So that's mat_minimap. So I'll save this and I'll close this off. I don't need this anymore. Go back to HUD. With my minimap image selected, I'm just going to click on this little arrow as the brush, and now you can see that you have this little thing. Now I hit compile, save. Now when I play the game, I can see that we have a minimap. So now I'm running around, and all of these guys are running around too, and I'm shooting. You can also you can also see the bullet trails, and everything is working fine. So actually I don't know what I walked into. It's moved to point Charlie. Oh, that thing was already there. Okay. All right. So if I click on play again, and oh, that's a bug that we have. That's the point beta. Okay, that's a bug. But that's okay. But you have the minimap which is operational right now. Now, all we have to work on is get that little arrow, which is always going to be indicating the direction of the movement of you as the player. Okay, let's get that done now. Okay, so getting that is actually quite simple as well. So going back to HUD, now, if you want to give it some more tints, you can. So if I click on this tint, I can actually, I don't know if I can click on this color wheel and color spectrum. I can go for something like this. If you are into something like that, it depicts something like a night vision scene or something. So if I can go for a very light greenish color out here, okay, and there you go. And if I go to, I think I'm good at that. Maybe the hue can be a little bit more, or the hue can be like that, and the saturation can be a little bit more. That's okay. And this guy is who's the arrow. Now I can actually get rid of the tint. Okay, I can just say I can get rid of all of that, and also blue, get rid of that. Okay, and so this is going to be the arrow itself. Let's say the arrow, this is minimap arrow, so select that, and size to content. Okay, size to content, and just place it right over your character like that, just like that. If you want, maybe you can increase the size. Let's say it's 16 by 18, so you can just say don't size to content. You can say 25 by 25, something like that, and or 20 by 20 is good. 20 by 20, and then place it right over the character like that. Okay, and then compile it. Okay, and maybe you might want to get the camera even further up. I don't know, that's up to you. Not this minimap camera. Go straight up like that, compile that, go back, play the game. Now you can see that I actually have an arrow and I'm running around with the arrow. Okay, now you may also choose not to render that thing at all. Now I can also shoot and I can see the bullet trails as well. Now that's totally up to you, but we have a functioning mini map and I can see the guy who's chasing me. He was actually chasing me, then he went away, and I can move up here, and then that's the point alpha. Okay, that's an explosion that went off, and then I can go to point Charlie. Explosion went off, all objectives cleared. Perfect, right? And I can even get the ammo. That explosion also went off. I can reload. Perfect. Okay, and I can also, oh, okay, all right, and there you go. Oh, that's a bug. All right, great. So that's about how to create a simple mini map, and it works just fine. Okay, and if I just take a look at that, it's the follow camera, and it's a preview skeletal mesh. It's the minimap camera. Let's see if I can just take a look at the event graph and weapon input bindings. This is turn rate, movement input, aim down sights. This is character movement, walk speed, activate aim down sights. Let's see if I click here, and oh, that's the follow camera. If I can move it here a little bit. All right, fine. I'll just move him here. So it deactivates the follow camera and activates the iron sight camera. Now, where is the iron sight camera? Iron sight camera is right here. Let's see, where is the iron sight camera? Oh, that's right here. That also works. Now, you also have to, let's say, activate this camera at the same time. Okay, all right, let's figure that out later, but at least we got this, we got this thing done. We got the mini map done, and it's looking good. So if I hit play, I can run around, I can see the mini map, I can see the explosions and everything else. Great. So that's about it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.